Hi, salam everyone. እንደምንድናችሁ? ዛሬ ይዘንላችሁ የምንቀርበው በየጤና ወግና በሜንተርሺፕ በምናዘጋጀው በአመት አንዴ በተቻለም ጊዜ ከዛም በላይ እኛ ያለፍንበትን ለሌሎች ሼር በማድረግ ብለን እኛ በግሩፕ ተዘጋጅተን ከምናደርገው አንዱ ዝግጅት መካከል ነው። እኔ ዶክተር መላኩ እባላለሁኝ። በመጀመሪያ ሁላችሁንም እዚህ እንግዳ ሆናችሁ በፓነሊስትም ጊዜያችሁን ኤክስፒሪየንሳችሁን ሼር ለማድረግ ከአቴንዲንጎቻችን ጋር ስለመጣችሁ ሁላችሁንም እውነቴን ነው የምላችሁ። በጣም ነው እኔ it's an honor ይህንን ኦርጋናይዝ ሲደረግ ፓርት በመውሰዴ እኔ እና እናንተንም I do understand ቀዳሚያችሁን ሰውታችሁ ጊዜያችሁን ከቤተሰብ ጋር ከስራም ጋር ተካፍላችሁ እዚህ ደግሞ ለሌሎቻችሁ ለሌሎች እኛን ለሚመስሉት እና ከኛ በታች ደግሞ ኤክስፒሪየንስ ለሆኑት ስቲል አፕሊኬሽኑ ፕሮሰስ ላይ ላሉት ለነሱ ሼር በማድረጋችሁ ወይም ለማድረግ ፈቅዳችሁ እዚህ በመምጣታችሁ በእውነት ነው የምለው ከልቤ ነው ሁላችሁንም የማመሰግነው። ሆፕፉሊ ደግሞ አቴንዲንግ የሚያደርጉት ወይም በኋላ በዩቲዩብ ላይ ወይም ሌላ ቦታ ላይ ለሚያዩት አፕሊካንትስ ወይም ደግሞ ኢቨን ከጊዜም በኋላ ሊሆን ይችላል የዛሬ 2 ወርም 6 ወርም አመትም ሆፕፉሊ በጣም ቫልዩብል የሆነ ኢንፎርሜሽን ነው ሼር የምናደርገው ብዬ አምናለሁ። በመጀመሪያ እንግዲህ ራሳችንን ኢንትሮዲውስ እናደርጋለን። ከዛ ያሰብነውን ቶፒኮች ዲስከስ እናደርጋለን። ያው ሜንሊ የሬዚደንሲ አፕሊኬሽን ኢንተርቪው ማች ፕሮሰስ ከአሁን በፊትም ዲስከስ ተደርጓል። አዳዲስም ነገር ካለ እናወራለን። ጥያቄዎቹንም ደግሞ መጨረሻ ላይ በደንብ ለመመለስ እንሞክራለን። እንግዲህ እኔ ከራሴ ኢንትሮዲውስ ለማድረግ ሞክራለሁኝ። በመጀመሪያ ዶክተር መላኩ ነኝ። ኒው ጀርዚ ውስጥ ሆስፒታል ውስጥ ሆኜ እየሰራው ነው የምገኘው። ሬዚደንሲን እና ሜዲካል ስኩል የተማርኩት እዚህ ሬዚደንሲ ኒውዮርክ ውስጥ ነው እና ሜዲካል ስኩል ደግሞ ሺካጎ ነው። ሃይ ስኩል እና ከዛ በታች ደግሞ የተማርኩት ያው አዲስ አበባ ነው እና አንዳንዱ ነገር ስፔሲፊክሊ ከኔ የተሻለ ሌሎቻችሁ ልታውቁት ትችላላችሁ እና ለእናንተ ነው መድረኩን የምሰጠው ስፔሲፊክሊ ሌላ ከኢትዮጵያ መጥቶ ፕሮሰስ ውስጥ ለሚያልፉት። በተረፈ ግን እኔም ደግሞ I think I'll have a different perspective እና ፕሮሰሱንም የማውቀውን ያክል ደግሞ አድ ለማድረግ ሞክራለሁ። ስለዚህ ወደሚቀጥለው ራሳችሁን እንግዲህ በየተራ መድረኩን ለእናንተ ተዋለው እንግዲህ ራሳችሁን ኢንትሮዲውስ አድርጉልን።
Sorry, Mali, some of the attendees in this webinar are asking us if we can make the communication in English because there are some who cannot speak Amharic, and we have the honor of some Eritrean medical graduates joining us our webinar. So is that okay with all panelists?
Yeah, I think it should be that's fine. እሺ ፈቃደኛ ከሆናችሁ ሌሎቻችሁ I think we can mix it, አንዳንዱ ነገር it's some of it is just it feels more natural በአማርኛ ስናወራ. So if you want to mix it up, that's fine. I think whatever you guys feel comfortable, I'm okay. I'll try to kind of do the same thing and hopefully that should really address most of the topics እና all right, መድረኩ ለእናንተ ቀጥላለሁ እንግዲህ።
Okay, I think I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I am Adrajo Amsalu. I think, mostly I was based in Ethiopia. I graduated at Addis Ababa University Medical School. I worked a few years as a general medical practitioner and academician in Ethiopia. I moved to United States, I think, in 2014. And joined residency in Atlanta Medical Center here in Atlanta, and I graduated 2 years ago, and now I'm working as a hospital medicine physician. አደራጀው ታደሰ ነኝ። ኢትዮጵያ ነው ብዙውን ጊዜ ያሳለፍኩት። ከዛ በተጨማሪ ደግሞ ሕክምናም ማስተማርም ኢትዮጵያ ሰርቻለሁ። አሁን ያለሁት አትላንታ ነው። የተማርኩት ሬዚደንሲ አትላንታ ሜዲካል ሴንተር የሚባል ነው። አሁን ደግሞ የሆስፒታል ህክምና ወይም ሆስፒታሊስት የሚባል ስራ እየሰራው ነው ያለሁት ላለፉት 2 ዓመታት።
Dr. Hewitt Mengste, maybe next.
I can do it. So I'm Hewitt. I'm a pulmonary critical care fellow at the University of Buffalo. I did my medical school in Addis Ababa University. I graduated in 2012. And then after that, I joined the staff there, and then I worked in emergency medicine for 2 years. And I came here in 2015. And then I did my residency in Howard University Hospital, and I graduated in 2020. Now I'm a second year in pulmonary critical care. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm up next, I think. Actually, to start with, like, I'm the most junior one from this panelists. I mean, but I think I'm actively in the process now. So I'm submitting my application currently. It says I'm just certified and I'm living in New Jersey, but I got my degree from Juma University back in Ethiopia. So I will give you some technical things if that helps. Maybe actively in the process, so help so I'll try to do that. But mostly I'll read the information. Okay, thank you.
David.
Dave is left, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Dawood Warku. I graduated from Jima University, and I did my residency in neurology at Addis Ababa University, and then I came to the US, and I did my internal medicine residency at Aurora Health Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm currently working as a hospitalist. Thank you.
I think it's my last part. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Fitsum. My daytime job is I'm a transplant nephrologist at Thomas Jefferson University Hospital. I'm also a co-founder of Etena Work, and I'm working with these wonderful people, Dr. Melly, Dr. Dowd, and everybody who is volunteering here. And we have a lot of other volunteers who are also supporting us. Today's webinar is about, preparation for USMLE application for residency and the application process, how the interview looks like, and the matching process. This is a webinar for people who have already taken the exam. We have done already a webinar series, first part, that talks exclusively about what the exams look like. So this is a continuation of that webinar. So if you have questions regarding the exams and other things, you can always find the resources on our website or on the UTNOW's YouTube channel. And just a little housekeeping, during the webinar, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box. We'll make sure to address them, all of them at the end. And we also have created a dedicated Telegram group so that you can ask questions, not only today, but also going forward. We'll try to add as many people who have taken USMLEs to be able to answer your question in that group. So I'll be typing or posting the links in the chat box. So try to join there. This group is only for physicians who are planning or intending to take the exam. So please, make it professional. Don't put junk message and all that, so that it will be useful for you. And whenever you have questions, we'll be able to answer it right away. And if we keep it, just exclusively for USMLE purposes, I'll share the link. I'll stop here. Malay, Dave, the floor is for you. Thank you.
ቴንክ ዩ ፍፄ በጣም ጥሩ። አይ ቲንክ አሁን ወደ ቁም ነገሩ መግባት እንችላለን። በመጀመሪያ አይ ገስ ባክግራውንድ ለመስጠት ያክል ስለ አፕሊኬሽን ፕሬፓሬሽን የሚለውን ሴክሽን መጀመሪያ ላይ እናወራለን። ከዛ ቀጥሎ ስለ ኢንተርቪው፣ መጨረሻ ላይ ደግሞ ስለ ማቺንግ ፕሮሰስ እናወራለን እና ስለ አፕሊኬሽን ፕሮሰሱ ዲስከስ ለማድረግ ከማንም በላይ አሁን በቅርቡ ፕሮሰሱ ውስጥ ያለፋችሁት ወይም ያለፍሽው ህይወትን ወይም አይ ዶንት ኖ ዴቭ አንተ ሞር ሪሰንት ኤክስፒሪየንስ ካለ ለእናንተ መጀመሪያ እንትን መድረኩን እናንተ እንድትነግሩን አደረግና ወደ ኢንተርቪው ደግሞ ስንገባ ሌሎቻችን እንደዚሁ ሞር በቅርቡ በፕሮሰሱ ያለፍነው ወይም ደግሞ ኤክስፒሪየንሱን ያለን ደግሞ እንደዚሁ እያወራን መጨረሻ ላይ ደግሞ ማቺንጉንም ደግሞ ሌሎቻችንን ለመመለስ እንሞክራለን። ስለዚህ ለመጀመሪያ ያክል እስቲ ዶክተር ህይወት ካንቺ ልጀምርና መቼ ነው የፕሮሰሱን ምን ያህል ቱክ ዩ ላይክ ካይንድ ኦፍ ላይክ አ ሰመሪ እንዴት እንደጀመርሽ የቱ ጋር እንዳለሽ ምንድን ነበረ በጣም ቻሌንጂንግ ብለሽ የምትያቸው ነገሮች ያሳለፍሻቸው እና ለሌሎችም የምትመክሪያቸው ከዛ በኋላ ደግሞ ስለ ሌተር ኦፍ ሬኮሜንዴሽን ምናምን ስለ ወደ ዴቭ መመለስ እንችላለን።
ኦኬ እሺ ቴንክ ዩ ዶክተር መላኩ አመሰግናለሁ። actually I'm currently in the process as you said አሁን this season no apply ማደርገው so for 2022 March cycle no apply ማደርገው so I'm currently in the process ማለት ነው። for the questions you asked I mean መጀመሪያ ምን ያህል ፈጀብሽ ወይም ደግሞ how did you get to this process ላልከኝ I think it's kind of personal. I mean for some people it may take like a year or a year and a half or 2 years. It's like it's dependent on your story, like how fast you take the pause. No, I think it depends on that. But as for me, I think I moved to the US 2 years back, and since from then I was preparing for this residency program. Maybe some of them may do it a little bit in a faster pace, but I think for IMGs, I think this is the most challenging part. I think because as for me, I graduated like for 5 years back, so in 2016, and after that we don't get the degrees, as you all know, and we have to serve the through some health hospitals or healthcare facilities. So we have to do that, and we have to get our degree or licenses, and then we get into this process. So I think for IMGs, that's the most challenging part. I think we are trying to get into another country's health system, you know, so we don't get, you know, it's not granted. Like, so I think ሁሉም ሰው የራሱ የሚነግረው ፓዝ ይኖረዋል, but for me, I think that's the main challenge for us. So for me, I think 2 years and a whole, first of all, yes, but from taking step 1 up to this point. And I think for application process in general, about the step exams and the like, ብዙ ሰው ሰርች ያደርጋል ጎግል ላይ ወይም ከሰው ይሰማል። ሰው የተለያዩ ግሩፖች አሉን። so lastly I will suggest that as well, telegram group and the like. so ብዙ ሰው ኢንፎርሜሽን ይኖረዋል, like USMLE, the steps, the examination and the application process. But generally, it needs a whole need of effort and commitment. I mean, it's a kind of long journey, especially for IMGs coming from Ethiopia and taking this whole path to the end. So I think it means that. But generally, the passing the step exams and registering for ERAS application is the path to come to the US health system. Maybe I would take a few minutes, but I compiled some slides just to be organized. And I'm going to show you that. It's like 10 slides, 13 slides. So I'm going to take 10 or 15 minutes of your time, and I'll try to address you how the process goes. So I think ይታያል ብዬ አስባለሁ. So okay, so I'll start off with አሁን እዚህ አቴን ፓርቲሲፓንቶቹ ብዙ አይነት ስቴጅ ላይ ያላችሁ እንደሆናችሁ ይገባኛል። I mean my colleagues ትኖራላችሁ, like ሰሚት እያደረጋችሁ, or those who already submitted ትኖራላችሁ, or ደግሞ ገና ስታርት እያደረጋችሁ ወይም ደግሞ committed for this journey ወይም ስቴፕ እየወሰዳችሁ ያላችሁ ልትኖሩ ትችላላችሁ። So generally ለሁሉም እንደሚሆን አድርጌ some points ነው ማነሳው. I'm not going to go into details, but generally I will give you some ideas for those who are about to start the journey. So generally, as you all know, you may also go to Okay, so as you all know, the first point is to pass the USMLE clinical knowledge requirement and communication skill requirements. As you all know, CS exam is now terminated, so we have to take step 1, step 2 CK and OET exams to meet the requirements of the USMLE exam requirements. So and for the preparations and how to read and how to prepare mirror, I think it needs more much of time. So I think በዛ የተለያዩ ዌብሳይቶችን ወይም ደግሞ ግሩፖችን ሰጀስት አደርጋለሁ መጨረሻ ላይ በዛ ፎሎ ታደርጋለች። The next part is like to apply for SFMG pathways. Currently, SFMG introduced like 6 pathways, as some of you may know, as pathway 1 up to 6. And I think for our setup, I think especially for Ethiopian IMGs, I think the pathway 1 is the most preferable one. I think ሌሎቹን ጎግል ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ። It's found on the SFMG booklet በየዓመቱ የሚያወጣው ዌብሳይቱም ላይ ማግኘት ትችላላችሁ። But generally እኔና እኔን የመሰሉ ጓደኞቼ በዚህ መልኩ ስለሆነ አፕላይ ያደረግነው so I brought that up here ማለት ነው። So it's pathway 1. For pathway 1, after passing those type exams, then you will apply for pathway application. That means for certification ማለት ነው. So you only need good standing letter and appropriate fee after passing those exams ማለት ነው. So after the good standing letter, for some of you who may not know, እኛ ጋር ብዙ ጊዜ ፕራክቲስ ስናደርግ ላይሰንስ ፕራክቲስ ካደረግን በኋላ ይሰጠናል። I think አሁን ግን right away after graduation, I think people can get it. So after that, licensing የሰጣችሁ organization could be Ministry of Health or could be FEMACA or regional health bureaus for that matter. So እነሱን ኮንታክት አድርጓቸዋላችሁ ላይሰንስ የሰጣችሁ ሰው then they will provide you a good standing letter. Then after that, with paying appropriate fee, then you will get your SFMG certification ማለት ነው. So the next part is to create an Nbc account. Nbc is the association which like a platform to apply for US graduates as well as IMG. So after that, creating the account, then we'll fill the MyRAS application. MyRAS is just an electronic platform that all of the applicants for residency, US residency systems or medical systems ለመግባት so apply የምናደርግበት platform ነው. It's kind of an application software. So soon buy another guideline for some specific details, then I'm going to suggest the website to visit the ERAS website, IMC website, and the SFMG websites. So after doing that, the next part is my ERAS application submit. For that submission, I think ERAS application passing the steps for or having the SFMG certification is not the only or sole requirement. So the first one is SFMG certificate. Actually, some of you apply የምታደርጉም ትኖራላችሁ ወይም ደግሞ SFMG certificate ገና ሳታገኙ but usually it's preferable by the time of application SFMG certificate. It opens a lot of doors for you. Because some programs may require you to be SFMG certified by the time of application, but some can accept you, but to read the application, you should look for that. The other document is medical school evaluation performance. This is actually was called Dean's letter previously. It is taught as like objective data ተብሎ የሚታሰብ ነው. So Dean's letter like objective data of your medical evaluation and performance ማለት ነው. So እሱን ታስለካለች. The next one is letters of recommendation. Letters of recommendation ላይ ብዙ ነገር ማለት እንችላለን. Like who should write it, how to submit, and how to contact the writers and the like. It's kind of, as I told you, but vast topic, no? So I'm not going to details. Maybe ሌሎቹ ፓናሊስቶች በጣም ብዙ የሚነግሩ ነገር ይኖራል። but generally ያለፍንበት ፓስ letter of recommendation authors request ታደርጋላችሁ አፕሎድ ያደርጉላችኋል። so እዛ ዲቴል ውስጥ አልገባም። I'm going to say some few words out after. The next one is personal statement. Personal statement is it's kind of how to tell your story and the like. I'm going to have just one slide about that. The next one is medical school transcript. It is not actually a difficult thing. Once you start the process of SFMG certification, by itself, transcript approved የሆነ ይመጣል. Verification is the leading process. So through this process, SFMG certified እስከምትሆኑበት ያለው ድረስ በራሱ ሜዲካል ስኩልን ሰርቲፋይ ያደርገዋል SFMG ማለት ነው። So you don't have to go through any other process ማለት ነው። So medical school transcript is just a transcript. You have an official transcript ምንለው ማለት ነው። So እሱን አፕሎድ የምታደርጉት። The next one is USMLE transcript. USMLE transcript is just your course, and the SFMG will take care of that. There is photo, appropriate photo. The specifications will be found on the SFMG website. So I suggest you to look at that. And I would like to say something about personal statement. For those, I said I'm not going to details because it needs a whole lot of time, but I'm just going to say a few points. Like personal statement is a statement of your story, how you come to that point, and it is created in text file usually because there's no special characters like bold, italics, and the like. So any emphasis or any attention you want to attract through this decoration is not working, Malatno. So you kind of work on your story, how you tell your story, Malatno. So it takes up to 28,000 characters, but it's preferably 600 to 700 words, preferably in one page. And usually in the prepared narrative for different specialties, no? Because in this statement, you are addressed to or required to address why you choose that specialty. I mean, I put some saying here, I love the vanilla, but the others are just fine, you know? They know you are like fine with spades or ops or the like, but they want to know why you chose that specialty and how you want to learn and how you want to grow. So basically, more than this, tell your story, especially as an MD, experience. So we will pass through different challenges and different paths, like coming from Ethiopia, from that country by itself with low resources and the like. So we will take you so it will give you something or some sort to take so that you are a strong person, you deserve this position, and you are appropriate for being like a physician, a caring, and the like. So what I suggest is tell your story. As an MD, you all have your own story. Just I have money. So tell your story. That this is the best place to tell your story, and about any ideas just when the move exchange. So we'll have some groups and the like. I'm gonna suggest that. So generally, part, you know, the letter of recommendation, as I told you, I'm not going into details, but generally it's different from MSP. MSP is, as I told you, an objective data, like about your grades, your evaluation, and the like. These letters of recommendation are kind of, you know, a touch of subjective thing. They try to make you look good. So letter of recommendation is not actually MSP, but it's a letter just submitted by your authors or your attendees or supervisors. And there is actually a link on the ERAS. You'll say the visit start so person upload me that once uploaded cannot be edited. And this contact narration below numbers with details because it takes a lot of time. But you can submit up to 4 and the like. And who should submit it, how it should be submitted, then it needs some other time. The other is I would like to just show you that how it looks like the ERA cycle, where it's like it started like 5 or 6 months back from the start of the program submission or the actual application, as you can see here. So it starts June 9 and it ends up to May 31. So you have to, so in bring a for I am just from Ethiopia or from any other country, you have to start a process actually earlier, like 5 months or 6 months earlier. So it's not a 1 week or a 1 day application process. So you have to plan yourself in that regard. So NRMP, the National Residency Matching Program, survey ሰርቷል. So his survey, I think, is the most important part, especially for IMGs, because it tells that actually more than 1,000 program directors know interview ያደረጉት ወይም የጠየቁት. So they answered. ቅድም የዘረዘርኩላችሁ ዶክመንቶች አሉ ወይም ደግሞ ኢቫሉዌሽኖች አሉ. So from those evaluation and overall the personal evaluation, what thing is way more or what thing is way less የሚለውን ነገር ሰርቬይ ሰርቶ ነበር። እሱ ነው እዚህ ጋር ለማምጣት የሞከርኩት። ይኸኛው is just a program, as you can guess, US graduates, especially MD graduates, will get a yes usually most of the time for interview invitation, but still I want to bring that many USMGs are growing. I mean, now they are becoming the most important part of American health system. So the need is growing, but as well as the applicants are growing. So it's there's actually a place for us. So this is actually the thing I want to share with you. As I told you earlier, the program director, so I think it's not all about having the scores. I mean, having taken the step 1 or step 2 or having killing those scores is not the only thing. I mean, having a good score is a good thing, but it's not the only thing. As an MGM demo in process start, I think this is the thing I want to share you. They want to currently they try to see the person as a whole, the applicant as generally, like what path did you went through? How is your background? How is your CV? I mean, how is your work experience and everything, your communication skills, your like volunteer experiences and the like. So I think for IMG especially in journey start as much as you give effort to the taking the effort, the step exams, you have to give it like a much effort to make like yourself like book for this application process. So career development like መስራት እንዳለብን ነው የሚያሳየው. So I will try to give you some information about this, like some of the things as you can see here, some components way more and some components way less. This is the program director, exactly like actual program director similar to know. So I think by this scenario no evaluate so knowing these things helps us a lot to achieve this journey. So I think failed attempt on USMLE, of course it's because it's taken as a red flag. So trying to pass on the first attempt is a good thing actually. So that's the thing. This one doesn't apply to us, but the next parts are like the next huge weight measure fundamental accreditation. So this doesn't work for us. The next MSP, as I told you, values are like objective data. So it tells how you were like evaluated in the medical system back before your graduation. So MSP is actually a good thing. So he processed by default to start when you join the medical school. So earlier from your clinical years, you have to build your CV, your evaluation, your grades and everything so that your MSP will be strong. So earlier in the medical school, journal መጀመሪያ ያለባችሁ ብዬ በከራሴ ኤክስፔሪየንስ መናገር the other side so preferred grades in specialty. So back say especially internship clinical years ላይ ያላችሁ grades will weigh more. So that's the thing. And the other side the website ላይ ማግኘት ትችላላችሁ. So how they weigh and how they are evaluated. The next thing I want to show is that it's not only the grades and the objective evaluation. It's not about the score, only about the score or objective data. Here, as you can see, they also give attention, like they also give emphasis for professionalism, ethics, and also, as you can see, volunteer experiences, prior knowledge, and everything. Personal statement is also with letter of recommendation in the specialty, and the others you can see here, life experiences as well. Okay? So life experience and everything. So how you build your career when to this point, build የምታደርጉት ነገር ነው መጨረሻ ላይ for like book applicant ወይም ደግሞ base applicant የሚያደርጋችሁ. So I think it's worth to see this survey and to prepare yourself earlier in your medical schools. So you can find this in the So again, the same thing. I mean, this is the data to choose for interview, and this is the data after the interview, how they weight or how they rank you. Like these are also ብዙ ነገሮች ተደምሮ ነው። So it's not about the score and everything. Of course, I'm going to attempt, fail attempt is the first one, but the others are also account huge emphasis like MSP and the others like the volunteer experience, and that's to how you develop your career to come to this point. So these are the whole things you should do to prepare yourself to be the best applicant. This is also the same thing I say. Like after they interviewed you, it's the interview enough process. I didn't pass through that. So they look financial better being a as well. I hope they would share us a great deal of experience on that. But generally, interpersonal skills are like, yeah, there's leadership qualities, personal statement, your story, how challenging passes you have to. This also matters a lot. So this is just to give you like an idea. This is a survey which is done from 1952 up to this year. And as you can see previously, the applicants were under like the applicants were lower than the positions offered by the US system. But currently it's growing. The programs are also, the positions are growing, but the applicants are outgrowing. So this is the thing that can tell us that it's getting more competitive. So it's better prepare ourselves not only for the objective data, as I told you, for generally as a person and as a physician and the physician of interest. So this is just to give you an idea about which specialties are friendly. Usually most of you may search or may go with and may know that it's internal medicine, family medicine, urology, and the likes are friendly, but just to give you an objective data that internal medicine is the most competitive, but also IMG friendly, thought to be as IMG friendly. But these are the data that if you want to apply some different specialties, it could be general surgery, could be neurology and the like. I hope that the other panelists will tell us about in detail about specialties you wish to go for and the like. Generally, this is the soft eligibility. As I said, I didn't pass for that, but I just brought it for just the information. If you didn't match or there is still a post match after the match. So this is the whole thing. So I'm gonna pile up with this, and I didn't take much of your time, I guess, of the junior one from this group, but I'm gonna pile up with this. Thank you very much. If you have any questions.
ዶክተር ህይወት በጣም ነው የምናመሰግነው። አሪፍ ኢንትሮዳክሽን እና ሰመሪም ነው ወይ እስካሁን ቀጥሎ ዲስከስ የምናደርጋቸውን ነገሮች በሙሉ ይህንን ኢንፎርሜሽን ይዘን መሄዳችን አይ ቲንክ ይጠቅመናል እና ቴንክ ዩ በጣም። ዴቭ ኤኒቲንግ የምትጨምረው አለ?
ኤክሰለንት ፕሬዘንቴሽን ህይወት፣ በጣም ጉድ ጆብ። I think most of the guideline is discuss እንዳደረገችው ነው። By this time, I think the discussion involve የሚያደርገው ኢንተርቪው ፕሮሰስ ሪች ያደረጉ አፕሊካንቶችን ስለሆነ there are some things the applicant can change now, and there are some things which they cannot change now. So the things they can change now include a recommendation letter. I will talk about recommendation letters briefly, and personal statement, and CV resume from the application website. So regarding letter of recommendation, ሁላችንም እንዳለፍንበት sometimes it's challenging to get enough recommendation letters. So we have to network and see around and get enough recommendation letter. Usually it's better to have a recommendation letter from the US than from Ethiopia. And the other thing is, when we ask people for recommendation letter, we have to know that they know us enough. Like you can ask people recommendation later, but if they know you for a week, sometimes they put, I know him for 3 days or 4 days, and even if they give you a good recommendation, that wouldn't be enough time to know you. So the program directors, they can catch that. The other thing regarding recommendation is better to diversify a recommendation later, like someone from medical school and someone from if you do residency or work from there, and you can have someone even outside of the work who knows you personally. The other thing regarding personal statement is interview experience like the residency chief ሲኒየር የር ሆነን ኢንተርቪው ስናደርግ ፒክ የሚያደርጉትን ነገር ነው የምነግራችሁ። ፐርሰናል ስቴትመንት ላይ ብዙ ጊዜ ከኛ ስፔሻሊ ኢትዮጵያ ኤርትራ የመጣን we are influenced with British English እና ብዙ ጊዜ ላይገባቸው ይችላል አንዳንዴ ፐርሰናል ስቴትመንት ላይ የምናስገባው ነገሮችን እና ስለዛ ስቶሪያችንን ስንናገር ፐርሰናል ስቴትመንታችንን ሞር የአሜሪካን ኢንግሊሽ ሞር ደግሞ ኔቲቭ ስፒከር ኤዲት እንዲያደርግልን እና 3-4 ሰው ኤዲት ቢያደርግልን it's good because sometimes there are mistakes even if we read the letter or personal letter multiple times we may make mistakes. So personal statement በደንብ መሰራት አለበት ማለት ነው። The next thing is CV. CV ራሱ ነው ቢልድ አፕ የሚያደርግልን የራስ አፕሊኬሽን ላይ ዶክመንቶቻችንን እና እንትናችንን ኢንፎርሜሽናችንን ስናስገባ ስለዛ እዛ ላይ በደንብ መስራት አለብን። ብዙ ቅድም ህይወት እንዳለችው as much as effort እንዳደረግን steps ስናነብ we have to put enough energy on the CV and the application process. So ኮምፖነንቶቹ ላይ ዲቴል አልገባም ግን ለምሳሌ ቮለንቲር አክቲቪቲያችንን ዩዥዋሊ እኛ ሚኒማይዝ እናደርጋቸዋለን። ሌሎች አፕሊካንቶች ትንሽ ቀን የሰሩትን ነገር they glorify ስለዛ we have to put them number አድርገን የሰራናቸውን ቮለንቲር አክቲቪቲዎች ሌላ ደግሞ ሪሰርች ኤክስፒሪየንስ ፎር ኤግዛምፕል ቲም ትሬኒንግ ፕሮግራሞች እንሰራለን። ከጅማ ሌሎች አካባቢ ደግሞ የመጣችሁ ልጆች ኮሚኒቲ ፕሮግራሞች that's count as research experience even if በግሩፕ ብንሰራው። The other thing is work. Any kind of work is an experience, so you have to put them there because that means if you do more job you have enough experience to interact with people and that count. So make sure that you put those kind of experience and hobby especially socialized የሚያደርጉ hobbies. We should be frank but better to mention hobbies that more socialized የሚያደርጉ the programs they want to select people who interact well with people and work as a group, so we have to focus on those kind of activities. And finally again the application ከሞላን በኋላ we can view the CV እና CV-ውን ስናየው go over it, read it and ask help people around and cross check spelling, grammar. Sometimes we may put something which shouldn't be there, so make sure that you use the resource around you and you can use network mentors to help out as well. I think that's all. Thank you.
ቴንክ ዩ በጣም ዴቭ አመሰግናለሁ። አንድ ነገር ሪማይንድ ለማድረግ ቅድም ሜንሽን ማድረግ የረሳሁት ነገር የዩኤስኤምኤልኢ ሪሶርሶች የጤና ወግ ዌብሳይት ላይ በጉግል ድራይቭ ሪሶርሱ አለን እና ኢንኬስ ሚስ ካደረጋችሁት ወይም ደግሞ ስቲል ፕሮሰሱን የምትጀምሩ ካላችሁ ወይም ለሌሎች ማወቅ የሚፈልጉ ካሉ ፕሊዝ ሜክ a use of that website. It has a lot of resources for people who are trying to figure out and trying to prepare for the exam. So just wanted to mention that quickly. Next, it's kind of like a bridge to the next topic between the interview and the application. And I wanted to ask Dr. Hewitt, I know this is your second year as a fellow. So that means you went through the application for residency and for fellowship. There is a lot of similarities to some degree. So I don't know if there's anything that you want to share with our audience regarding the application process, as well as how you handled so many interviews so far.
Okay, thank you, Molly. Majamera, I just want to say congratulations for you guys because you've just completed the most difficult part of like this process. I feel like the interview process, application, and everything is a fun part comparing to like the study part and everything. So I just want to say congratulations for that. It's like everything has a challenge. There's some challenges that we're anticipating from this application and everything. So basically interview and fellowship applications are the same. And then most of the things are really mentioned by Hewitt and Dave. And then I just want to add a few things. So the first thing is when you do or when you prepare your application, make sure that you know every detail about what you're writing on your CV. This means this is really important because if you just mention something you did like a few years ago and if you don't remember in details, people may ask you about it in your interview. So you guys have to know in detail, like everything. You don't know like what the program director will be interested in, like during the interview process. Let's say, I can give you an example. Like when I was in Ethiopia, I used to work like with like a volunteer staff, like in prison or something like a kind of medical mission. And then I put that in my like CV. And then I remember one of the program director asking me in detail about it because he was interested like in working in prison stuff and everything. So what I wanted to say is whatever you put in your application, just make sure that you know it very well. That's very, very important. And then regarding to personal statement, and most of the things are really said by David and Hewitt. I'm not going to repeat anything, but just make it personal. It's personal, so just make it personal. So when they read about your personal statement, you don't want them to read like 3-page long paper. You just wanted to say what you want to say in just a page. I think 1 page is okay, or like in few words, but just make sure that that will express you well. So personal statement is not equal to CV. That is different because they're gonna go through your CV and they know what you did over the past few years, but personal statement is different. Like just talk about yourself. It shouldn't be only about your academic stuff and everything. Just you can talk about something specific. You can talk about your mom, how she influenced you, how things has changed. I mean, how things like, or like try to correlate things like, better explain so that like things can better explain you. So just keep that in your mind. I hope it's not too late like to talk about this at this time because I'm sure you're still like in the process of application. So I just want to focus on that. And then the other thing, I think probably like we're going to talk more about interview. I just want to talk more about the interview process because that's a little bit challenging and everything, but we're going to talk about it more later. But I just want to focus, know what you're doing, know in detail about your applications. And then regarding your personal statement, just make it personal because I'm telling you, like, for example, in my personal statement, I wrote about my mom, how she influenced me and everything. And then I remember even from my fellowship interview and then from my residency interview, so many people mentioned it about it. It's like they try to correlate them with themselves and everything. So I mean, as interviewers or as interview candidates, we always freaks out because we don't know what we're gonna face and everything. And it's the same from the interviewer point of view. Like the program director will freak out as well because they just want to have really good people to their program. So even they don't know how to start, sometimes it will be difficult for them to start conversations. So the way they will start conversation is they're gonna take something from your personal statement, something interesting, or they're gonna pick something from your application, and then they will try to correlate things and then make things like easy to start conversation with you. So try to make it interesting and try to make it personal. That's what I want to say. I think you're muted.
Sorry, I was going to say, we're going to the interview section. So you can go ahead and continue if you want to say something about the interview process, skills, what to wear, what's new, that sort of stuff.
Okay, so I just want to see the interview process in 3 ways. So I will divide it into 3 parts. So the first thing is the pre-interview process, then the interview part, and then what you have to do after the interview. So in the pre-interview process, as I said before, just make sure you know everything about your papers, everything, whatever you put, even like a 2-day experience, just make sure you know everything about it. Try to study it and everything. And then the other thing, know about your personal statement as well. And then the other thing, you have to know about the program that you're going to interview with. Try to study like about that specific program, what is peculiar about that program, even where it is located, because this time we're doing like a Zoom interviews. You have to know everything like about that specific program. If you know someone from that program, just make sure that person tells you more about that program so that you'll have all the informations. Some of the programs will tell you who you're going to interview with. So if possible, just know about those people. If they did any research, if they're interested in a specific thing, so that you can relate with them. So that would be really, really important. So 2 things if you have to do before the interview: 1, know about your CV and your personal statement, and 2 is know about the program, everything. Like try to Google, ask people and everything. And then the second part is like the interview part, which is really major part. So things have changed now. It's like Zoom. I have some experience. I'm just coordinating for the fellowship interview now, so I know how things are going, and then how things are like, how they're doing things. So I can tell you from my little experience. So far, like we did 3 interviews for my program, so I was coordinating that, so I know a little bit about it. So during this Zoom meeting, mostly what they do is during the first hour, they will just give you an overview about the program. You're going to have like a meeting with the program coordinator and the program director. During those times, you're expected to ask questions, just to learn more about the program and everything. So that's going to be in a group, like you will see all your colleagues, your other interview candidates and everything. So during those time, you may not be expected to talk a lot and everything, but just try to show yourself. Just try to ask really, we can talk about more about the interview questions and everything, but you can ask about the program, what you want to know and everything during those times. And then after that, they may just have some lectures or something like that, like anything that they want to do, just so that they will have them show their program. And then after that, they will just do the interview part. So during those times, since it's Zoom, as I say, just make sure that your the light and everything is good. There is no sound. Just make sure that you don't have a kid in the rooms so that they don't disturb you. So such things like you should really be working on. And then the post-interview part. So some people will tell you to write some recommendation letters. Not recommendation letter, but like thank you letters to the program coordinator and the people who interviewed you. So that depends on you. It's not mandatory to do. If you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't want to do it, that's okay. It's not mandatory, because most people or most program directors or the interviewing people will get so many emails from so many people. They will not open it. I can assure you, because so many layers, I'm sure they're not going to open that. they would just delete it even before opening it. So it's okay to send it, but what I would recommend you is at least you can write emails to the program coordinator, because they do most of the job. You can just say, thank you for doing this, thank you for helping. You can just make it personal, as like, thank you for doing this, thank you for arranging this, or that kind of layers. You can write it to the program coordinators. If you want, you can write it. I got some emails from the interview candidates doing this fellowship because I just helped them with some stuff. I didn't even reply to them because you're busy to do such stuff. So don't expect a reply email from the people who are interviewing you. So this is in general, and we can talk more about each and every stuff like in the next few hours. But if the others want to add something, then that would be helpful.
Dr. Adaracho, አረሳውህም?
Yes.
It's been an hour. አረሳውህም በጣም ይቅርታ።
It's good. It has been a very wonderful conversation so far. I just would like to congratulate all the candidates and all those interested in this pursuing medical care, MD career here in America for their greatest milestone. Dr. Workner, she did a great job putting out the most important information and her experience so far. So that's also very, very crucial. I think Hiot did she had more experience. She's coordinating fellowship interviews, and she gave us first-hand experience. That's also really important information. So I just would like to appreciate everyone here. When I came to the interview process, my experience, I have experience in physical interview as well as I have experience in a virtual interview. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different, but the main thing is it just remains the same, because you have to try to present yourself the best possible way. First and foremost, you can't be anyone else. You're gonna be yourself. So be your best yourself. That's the principle of the interview. So the next thing is, when you come to the interview, you're gonna present the content of your experience, the content of your education. So you have to make sure that that's very well represented in your CV and in your personal statement, and that's very well represented in the recommendation letters. Okay, that's important. When I came to the preparation for the interview, when you try to interview for virtual, there are few things you need to make sure they are in the right place. Okay, you need to have a very clean background. Okay, you don't need to put like your family picture behind you. It's recommended. They have a lot of recommendation. You need to have a clean background, a background like Fitsum, nothing that's glittering, nothing that's gonna make the interviewer person dizzy, or that's gonna take attention from your face. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, you need to make sure that your environment is working okay. Your computer, your connection, you need to have a backup system. If the wireless connection is not working, you need to make sure that you have to say, sorry, my connection is not working. I'm gonna proceed with my cell phone connection or something like that. Okay, so you need to have a backup system in case there is some breakdown in the connection, particularly for those people who interview from Ethiopia. The second thing is how you dress. You have to dress properly, whether you come physically or whether you do the interview virtually. You have to properly dress. Like your attire is very important. It should be professional. You can, even if you love your country, you cannot put your flag on your suit. So you have to have like a uniform, dull background, like blue, black is a common suit for males. For females, is a kind of anything goes with females, as long as it's not like super super attractive or like very glittery. So dressing is also very important. The third thing is the camera. Your camera should be exactly on your eye level. When you do a virtual interview, they want eye contact. Okay, you shouldn't make an interview looking at your keyboard. You shouldn't make an interview looking at your roof. You have to make sure that the camera is facing your eye level. That's also very, very important. And the other thing is your position. You have to make sure that your both feet are on the ground because it keeps you stable. Okay, you're not gonna shake or things like that. Okay. These are some of the things you need to be prepared for. Like you should be professional when you present yourself. That's important because interview is one of the 3 or 4 most important things in ranking a candidate based on research. I think number 1 is, let's say your score and personal connection. Let's say Hewitt right now is helping me get an interview. That counts as much as my scores. The second thing is your interview, your CV, your experience. These are the things that's gonna count hugely on the ranking process. So interview is very important. I think we're gonna come to the ins and out of the content of the interview, but the preparation part, you need to make sure that you are timely. You have to come on time in front of your computer. You have to check your Zoom. You have to check your WebEx. You have to check whatever medium they're gonna use. You have to come in front of your computer and check the connection. Usually, most of the programs, they will offer you to be connected 10 minutes before the interview. So you have to come and make use of that opportunity. Nobody's looking at you at that time. Okay, but you'll have opportunity to sit in front, take a deep breath, take like a nice deep breath and relax yourself. Just forget about it and, oh, now it's time to present myself. I'm not gonna, I know, people are reportedly, they fear performing or they fear speaking in front of people more than dying. Yeah, it's stressful. It's very, very stressful. Stage performance anxiety is for everybody. We all had it. We have gone through it. So the most important thing is sit, control your anxiety. Don't imagine it as a make and break moment, but just present yourself like at ease. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. እዚህ ጋር እኔ አንድ መጨመር የምፈልገው ነገር ብዙ ጊዜ ሁላችንም ነርቨስ ነን። some of it is like a cultural ነገርም ነው. The way we are raised, we're not supposed to look at people straight in the eyes, especially someone of authority nature, our boss, our teachers, our parents, elderly, anyone. But that's not how it works in this country. If you're not looking at me, maybe you're trying to hide something. So it could be seen as a negative thing if they don't understand your culture. But now you're trying to join their culture, their society. You're going to be with that program for 3 years, maybe more. And they want to know that they can trust you and they can really get to know you. So make sure you know some of those cues. So eye contact is very important. The other thing is being confident. So you might be an excellent doctor, but if you are nervous, it can come off as being not a good doctor. So it doesn't really say that if that makes sense. So if you come off being having an excellent score, everything looks fine, and they're trying to interview you, but they notice that you're nervous when you speak, you're shaking, you're not looking at them, it can be seen as a negative thing. So the best way to build your confidence to me, it's experience. So the first interview is always your weakest, possibly your worst interview, the first one. You may have 5, you may have 3. So whatever interview that when you schedule it, if it's the place that you really want to go and you want to impress them, try not to make it maybe your first interview if possible. So that way you kind of build your experience with time. The second thing is you can actually, I've had applicants do like a mock interview with me. It's very hard sometimes with time and commitment, but even when I was a resident, we tried it with each other. When I was in med school, we tried it with each other. When people are applying, sometimes they reach out to me or anybody that you know and you trust, and it could even be your own colleagues. Some of the questions are very similar, so you can practice with them and they can ask you, it's a lot of times they ask you the same basic question, trying to kill time in a way. Like, they have like 20 minutes, 10 minutes with you. If they are really interested in you and they read your applications and your personal statement, they will ask you specific things about you. If they don't read anything about you, they'll just say, hey, listen, tell me more about you. Like, why do you like our program? And while you answer, they're trying to go through your application and find the next topic, So make sure, you come in prepared, you're confident, you know your applications very well. Like, for example, for me, one of the most common questions was like, oh, I see that you're from Ethiopia, or, they get it from your application or your personal statement, and they say, oh, do you know so-and-so? We have 2 applicants from Ethiopia, excellent doctors, so they start talking about that. And then you just let them talk, right? You don't want to interrupt them. And then, then tell me about you. So you want to be able to fill in and answer those questions. Yes, you do want to be yourself, but if you're not very good at performing in those interviews, please try to practice and improve before your applications, before your actual interview date. So that's one thing that I wanted to add. I'll leave it to the stage if anybody else wants to comment or say anything.
I want to add something. So if you got the interview, that means you are halfway to your goal. So if you are getting interview, congratulations. That means the program read your application. They are interested on you. So you are on the winning side. So be confident when you do the interview. The second thing is usually in our culture in Ethiopia, confidence የለንም. The other bad thing is overconfident. The same thing damage ያመጣል. So you have to be always assertive what you have done and what accomplishment or experience you did. So make sure that you are assertive. You tell, as the other panelists said, look in the eyes, sit upright, not like me. So sit upright and look them in the eye. And the final thing is, if you get the interview, that means it's just the application process works with algorithm. So you have some percentage to match that program. So be professional when you do your interviews. Thank you.
ቀጥሎ ወደ ማቺንግ ፕሮሰስ አይ ቲንክ መግባት እንችላለን እና እስቲ አሁንም መድረኩ ለእናንተ ነው። ኤኒባዲ who wants to jump in? እንዴት ነው ማች የምታደርጉት? እንዴት ነበረ?
Yeah, I think we need to talk about I mean, the common questions. Common questions are common. So I think when you prepare yourself, you need to be prepared to answer. You don't know what you're going to be asked for sure. I mean, some people will ask like out of the world questions or like crazy questions. But commenting is common. You need to go through your, I mean, there is so many forums, there is so many mentoring websites, more importantly, our own personalized, this IMG mentoring service that NAWOG, you have to look for what kind of questions you're going to be asked, okay? I mean, we can also post some videos, like a real mock interview videos, and you can learn from that. So when you prepare yourself for a certain interview, I mean, after that, your score is going to be irrelevant. If me and Dr. Workner are going to be interviewed, and Dr. Workner have a better score than me, but I perform in a good way in the same interview process, I think I have a better chance. So once you go to the interview, your score is going to get more irrelevant, okay? At that time, your connection, your interview performance, maybe, I mean, maybe even your thank you laters are going to come into play, okay? So that's the way you see it. As Dawit, I mean, Dave said that once you are in the interview, they like you. I mean, they like your background. They like, they choose you among, let's say, 4,000 applicants apply to a certain program, okay? And they are interviewing only 200 people. So you are already outstanding candidate as far as the content of your application is concerned. Now is time to show your personality. Now is time to show your passion. Now is time for you to show your interest in that specific program. I mean, you cannot interview the same way to Harvard Medical School and let's say some community hospital program. You can't do that, okay? Even if in your CV, in your personal statement, you need to shine a light on your scholarly activity more when you go to a university program or like Ivy League programs, okay? You need to shine a light on your humbleness, hard work, your clinical dedication when you go to the community hospitals, right? So you have to prepare in a different way when you go to different programs, okay? That's also important. That comes with going through the program website. Go through the website. I mean, most of the programs we go to, they don't have an academic faculty more than 12. Go through each of them. What do they like? What is your work in the past? What are they focused on? What do you think they're going to ask you when you go to their interview? Particularly, go look at the publication of your program director. Most of the program directors, they write about residency, they write about personality, they write about some person, like, you know them. I mean, you're already a very smart person. You will understand people from their output, right? So that's how you start. You have to go through the program. You have to study that program very well. Whom do you know in that program? Even if you don't know anyone, I mean, they didn't help you to be invited to the interview, but you think this is an Ethiopian guy. You think this is an immigrant guy. Oh, why not I just email him? I'm coming to the program and did you have anything you want to tell me? They may not respond to you. But if they give you a hint, that shows an interest. So I think don't be invasive. I mean, don't contact just out of the blue. You have to ask permission, things like that. But when you prepare yourself, you have to know the program, because this is like a marriage. They are trying to establish a relationship between you and the program. You're going to be an employee for the next 3 years. Okay, are you going to be the person they like to live with you for the next 3 years? Are they going to be interested in, I mean, dealing with your personality? That's how you have to see the preparation, your preparation. The next thing, I mean, I cannot emphasize enough. I mean, already Dr. Mangiste said that you have to know whatever thing you put into your application. Okay, you have to know, and you have to have an explanation. You need to know your weakness. Everybody has a weakness. When I applied for residency, I know my weakness was I graduated like more than 10 years before my application. But I wanted to change that my weakness to a strength. That's how you should see it always. When you see a strength, don't make an excuse. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm an old graduate. You can't say that. You can't say. What you can say is, oh, during this time, I have invested myself in making myself a better person, making myself a better clinician. I'm experienced in this. I have this leadership role. I have this academic background. I have this another study. I did this postgraduate study. I was doing all this kind of things. I'm actually a better person because of this gap. And particularly for the recent graduates, I mean, I feel sorry. We came to a point where a person who holds an MD degree is unemployed. This is just a very, very sad reality. But what I would recommend to them is, I mean, even if you are not paid, do something at home. I would say every single one who is unemployed in Ethiopia, if they are supported financially and mentorship-wise, I mean, most people will have a chance of becoming a physician here. So don't just in a desperate situation, don't get lost. Volunteer, help people at the same, you will find a job at the same time, right? Yeah, the next thing I would focus on, maybe, I think maybe the other people who are helping, the common questions that are going to be asked. Okay, tell me about yourself. I mean, how do you start about, tell me about yourself? They don't want to hear your whole CV. When you are asked about, tell me about yourself, just tell them what they want. I mean, what you need them to know, like personality-wise. Does it show like your hard work? Are you very friendly person? I mean, just choose 3 characters and light a shine based on your experience. I mean, when I was a resident, I mean, during my first interview, I went and the interviewer stopped me because I went through my CV. I was born and I'm about to die to this moment. Like a kind of that story, like it's just non-stop rambling. Nobody wants to hear that. You need to choose 3 traits. Let's say, I mean, okay, I think I have gone through a good hardship. I have a good experience. I think I work hard to reach to this level. So I'm a very resilient person. I have a grit. I would do whatever it takes to be successful. You just talk about that, taking an example from your experience. So that's one thing you can do. The second common question I would say is, why do you want to come to this program? I mean, you have to be flexible here. You cannot have the same answer to different programs. You have to be flexible based on what they want. I mean, at the end of the day, be yourself. I mean, you can be different personalities, but you need also to tailor your answers if you want that program based on their interests, right? I think there are other questions which are going to be asked frequently. I mean, residency questions are actually the same throughout. And fellowship questions are a little bit different, totally different. But residency questions, I mean, you'll be asked the same question like 3, 4, 5, 6 programs. So you need to be prepared for that and have very short answers. You need to stop because of our, I mean, this is our second language. We cannot just talk for I mean, 15 minutes and then stop. No, just try to make it like a short statement for a couple of minutes. I mean, if they let you talk, don't stop. You can talk still, but make sure that you have like succinct, like what do you call that? This sharp shooting statements. Maybe your experience. I mean, tell me about your experience. I mean, you cannot say everything. Just light up one of the strongest experience you have. I don't think this is going to be a problem for the new graduates, but people who are experienced, let's say 5 years, 6 years, you have a lot of things to talk. Here, I went to a residency interview and I found an American graduate next to me. And he was talking about his leadership skill because he has a lot of siblings and he's like helping them manage their time, things like that. That's his experience. I mean, back in Ethiopia, people who work for a couple of years, I mean, you can say you are a president, I mean, compared to him. But you have to present it in the nice way because you did some work. I think that's what I want to say. Sorry of the common questions.
Yeah, I think አብዛኛውን ነገር you know, thank you so much again. You covered it all in terms of what to expect, the questions, the challenge. And that's what I mean by the questions being very similar. So your first choice place, if you have 5 interviews, that's why you don't want your first one, your you know, the place that you really want to go to have it as your first interview, if you can. Because, you know, by 3rd interview, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, maybe more, you become an actor almost. It becomes automatic. Like you go in and they will ask you the same questions and your answers will come out very naturally. It shouldn't sound fake or it shouldn't sound rehearsed. So try to make it as natural as possible during that process. But it will be easier. And then practicing even in front of a mirror, kind of like to talk to yourself and listen to yourself and even record yourself on your phone and answering some of those questions and look at yourself. If you are repeating stuff over and over again, if you're stuttering, if you are not looking at the camera, that's like your own feedback. So, you know, you can use some of those skills to improve. There is a lot of YouTube videos also you can kind of use to help you prepare better. Is there anything else the rest of the panelists want to add? Otherwise, then we can go to the next topic, which is once you did your interviews, how do you rank your match or your list? That sort of stuff, like what are some of the techniques, or if you guys want to add.
I can say a few things on it. So as we already said, like interview ካረጋችሁ በኋላ always make sure that you document everything in a sense. What are the positive things about this program? What are the negative things about the program in general? ምክንያቱም as you interviewing more places, like ትረሳላችሁ what you did. I mean, like I remember in residency ላይ ያለው when I was interviewing, like 1 2 3 ያልኩኝ መቼም አልረሳውም ያልኩትን ነገር like 7ኛ ወይ 8ኛ ኢንተርቪው ጋር ስትደርሱ አንደኛ ኢንተርቪው ስለ አንደኛ ኢንተርቪው completely you forget about it እና ምንድን ነበር ያደረኩት, what was the positive side about the program, what was the negative side, and like this is very, very difficult. So ሁል ጊዜ ኢንተርቪው ካረጋችሁ በኋላ at least the same day or the next day always document the positive things, negative things, what I've learned from this program, and then, you know, like ሌሎች ነገሮች like ምን ተማርኩኝ and other stuff ማለት ነው. And that would be really helpful በኋላ እንትን ለማድረግ ስታስቡ ማለት ነው የትኛውን ፕሮግራም priority ላድርግ and everything. And then the other thing for mostly for IMGs, your first goal is to match አይደል? ምክንያቱም it's very competitive and everything እና it's match ማድረግ ነው። ግን ከዛ በኋላ if you have a chance to match to a very good program, especially if it's gonna help you in your future care and everything. On top of that, like family matter now. Like if your family is living in the east side, you don't want to go to the west side. So soon just keep it in mind, like why do I want to go to this program? Family stuff also, it matters. And then the other thing is programu እንትን ብሎ እንደሚያስበው like this person ከኔ ፕሮግራም ጋር ፊት ታደርጋለች ወይ ፊት ያደርጋል ወይ ብሎ እንደሚጠይቀው እናንተም እሱን ጠይቁ. like am I gonna fit into this program? ማለት በዙም it may be a little bit difficult because ፌሎቹን in person አታያቸውም, and then like ሄዳችሁ ፕሌሱን ወር ያለበትን ቦታ in person ስለማታይ I can give you an example. I'm signing on fellowship apply Sadirk, like night call, but I don't that's my need to come in mass residency, but I'm salamarring. Fitsum, I will never go to a program night misarabet beginnes in-house call, but Fitsum ማለት ነው. እና በጣም ጥሩ ቦታዎች ኢንተርቪው አደረኩኝ። በጣም like አሁን ካለሁበት የተሻለ ስም ያለው ምናምን ግን በቃ night call, it was very very busy ምናምን እና I wouldn't go to that program ብያሰብኩኝ ፊት አላረግም በቃ ይደክመኛል ብዬ ስላሰብኩ ማለት ነው ከፋሚሊ ጋር and everything. so እናንተም ፐርሰናላይዝ አድርጋችሁ እዚህ ፕሮግራም ብሄድ ፊት አደርጋለሁ ወይ ያላቸው ነገር እኔ እንትን ይለኛል ወይ ሬዚደንስ ላይ ማንዳታሪ ናይት መስራት it's not like fellowship ግን እሱን ነገሮች ተመልከቱ. like minor ነገሮች አሉ. ሌላው አብራችሁ ኢንተርቪው አንዳንድ ጊዜ ሬዚደንቶች ይልኩላችኋል ዲስከስ እንድታደርጉ so that ፕሮግራም ዳይሬክተሩን የማትጠይቁትን ጥያቄ እነሱን ትጠይቃላችሁ. ኢዚ ነገሮች ለምሳሌ ኢትዮጵያዊ አለ ወይ እዚህ አካባቢ or ምግብ ቤት አለ ወይ እንደዚህ አይነት ሲሊንግ የሚመስሉ ጥያቄዎች ግን very very helpful. And then how is the relationship between like among the residents themselves and then residency ደግሞ ከፕሮግራሙ ጋር ያለው relationship ምን አይነት relationship ነው የሚለውን ማለት ነው. that matters a lot. ምክንያቱም በጣም ቅድም እንዳልኩት ቶክሲክ የሆነ ፕሮግራም you don't want to go to those programs. like ላይፋችሁን ሚዝረብል የሚያደርግ ችግር ካለባችሁ ችግራችሁን የማይሰማ ፕሮግራም. I don't know እንደዚህ አይነት ነገር ሜንሽን ማድረግ እንዳለብኝ ግን ለምሳሌ if you're planning if you want to get pregnant during your like during this time support ማድረጋችሁ ፕሮግራም መሄድ አትፈልጉም literally ማለት now እኔን የምላችሁ if you ask me residency apply ያደረኩት ጠይቅ that's not even consider ማድረገው ነገር አይደለም. አሁን ግን after passing all this አሁን ያለውበት ፌሎሺፕ ላይ ሰፖርት ማድረግ ፕሮግራም ብዬ ነው ማስበው. like no ማንም ሰው መሄድ የለበትም ብዬ ነው በተለይ ለሴቶች it matters አይደል? እሱን ነገር አስቡ. ምክንያቱም እኔ like applies እያደረኩኝ I was pregnant እና በጣም I was concerned pregnant morning ካወቁ are they gonna take me what major my worry issue ነው አይደል? ግን this is very important. I was pregnant እና like ምንድነው የሚሆነው like አይቀበሉኝም ወይ ምናምን የሚለው ለኔ ጭንቀት ነበር at that point እና ከዛ በኋላ በጣም ደስ ያለኝ ነገር ብዙ ሰዎችን አግኝቻለሁ like pregnant ሆነው apply ያደረጉ ሰዎች ምናምን እና I really supported them ማለት ነው to go ahead እና pregnant መሆናችሁን at that point ጥሩነቱ ዙም ነው they don't even see it አይደል? that's good. ግን እኔ እንደዛ አለ 9 ሆኜ ይውላ ኢንተርቪው አድርጌያለሁ እና it matters ነገር like ቢታመምባችሁ ሰው like family member ብትጠይቁ እረፍት ይሰጧቸዋል ላይ that matters. I'm telling you it matters. ምክንያቱም እኔ አሁን ፌሎሽ ቤን የሰራ ፈርስት እያለሁ I was sick like COVID ይዞኝ ነበር እና I was very sick እና I didn't know what to do ምናምን ከዛ ግን I text my program director in the chair. they were like አሁኑኑ ወጥተሽ ወደ ቤት ሂጂ ነው የተባልኩት ማለት ነው እና ለመመለስ they gave me time, they didn't take my vacation time and everything እና they were really supportive. እነዚህ አይነት ፕሮግራሞችን በደንብ ኮንሲደሬት ሁኑ ማለት ሬዚደንስ አሁን IMG ችግራችን ምንድነው እንትን ብለን እናስባለን በቃ I have to match I have to ምናምን yeah of course you have to match and you will match ምክንያቱም you did the major part አሁን ያላችሁት እዚህ ጋር ነው ኢንተርቪው የተጠራችሁት ቅድም ተብሏል like እንትን ባይሏችሁ ኖሮ ጥሩ እንዳልሆናችሁ ባያስቡ ኖሮ አይጠሯችሁም. You should be confident enough like እዛ ጋር ስትደርሱ ጥሩ ባልሆን አልጠራም ነበር like they saw something in me I have to show that ሚላውን ነገር ነው ማሳየት ያለባቸው at that point እና እነዚህ ነገሮች ኮንሲደር አድርጉ it's not only about it's a very good program ምናምን እያችሁ ፊት ላታረጉ ትችላላችሁ disappointment ነው የሚተርፋችሁ and most of us like early phase of our life like very young ምናምን ስለሆነን I can do this ምናምን ብለን እናስባለን ግን sometimes ስቴዱ ፋሚሊ ስትመሰርቱ ምናምን those are things like you have to it will come to into play እና like it's like life-አችሁን you don't want to make it really miserable ሌላ work life balance እሱን ማሰብ አለባችሁ life-አችሁን የሚወስድ ከሆነ you know it's not worth it አይደል እና እሱን ነገሮች ኮንሲደር አድርጉ ከዛ በተረፈ ደግሞ እንትን ስታረጉ ሰው ጠይቁ እዛ ፕሮግራም ላይ በተለይ MG friendly የሆኑ ፕሮግራሞች ፊሎቹን ጠይቁ I mean or residentዎቹን ጠይቁ እዛ ያሉት residentዎች they will be honest most of them they are really honest ምክንያቱም ከእናንተ ጋር ያላቸው ኢንተራክሽን ላይ ማንም ፕሮግራሙ ዳይሬክተር or program leadership አይኖርም እና they will tell you like if they're happy you can see it from their face like you know now you can say like man no ጥሩ ማለት like ወደውታል ወይ ፕሮግራሙን የሚለው አንዳንዶቹ they will be really honest to you now even ጥያቄ ካላችሁ ስለ ፕሮግራሙና if you don't want to mention it during the interview process you can take their email address and then ask them now like ደፍራችሁ ሌላውን ማጠይቁትን ሰው or program leadership ቅድም እንዳልኩት ማጠይቁትን ነገር እነዚህን ሰዎች they will give you more information እና that would be really really helpful ማለት በጣም ብዙ ነገሮች ስለዚህ እነዚህ ነገሮች አንድ ላይ አድርጋችሁ ነው የትኛው ፕሮግራም ጋር ቤት ቤስት ማች አደርጋለሁ ብላችሁ የምትመጡት ማለት ነው I think that's all thank you
በጣም thank you Dr. Hiwet anything else ሌሎቻችሁ አድ ማድረግ የምትፈልጉት ካለ
I think ሌላ ራንኪንግ ላይ combined program ሌላ ሁለት ሶስት ስፔሻሊቲ አፕላይ የሚያደርጉ ሰዎች መወሰን ያለባቸው ነገር አለ አንዳንዴ ባክግራውንድ ኒውሮሎጂ እና ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን ኑሯቸው የሚመጡ ሰዎች አሉ ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን እና ኢመርጀንሲ ሜዲሲን ኢትዮጵያ ባክግራውንድ ኑሯቸው I think I don't mind going to this two specialties የሚሉ ሰዎች ይኖራሉ ወይም ሌሎች ብዙ ሰዎች እንደውም ሰርጀሪ እና ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን ራዲዮሎጂ ኒውሮሰርጀሪ እና ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን ያደረጉ ሰዎች እናውቃለን እና ራንኪንግ ላይ ኦፕሽኑ አለ የምትፈልጉትን ስፔሻሊቲ መጀመሪያ አድርጋችሁ ከዛ ቀጥሎ ደግሞ የማትፈልጓቸውን ስፔሻሊቲዎችን ማስቀጠል ይቻላል ኦፍ ኮርስ ሴፓሬት ፐርሰናል ስቴትመንት ያስፈልጋቸዋል ሴፓሬት ሌተር ኦፍ ሪኮሜንዴሽን ያስፈልጓቸዋል ግን at the end ማቹ it's just for yourself personal ነው ለራሳችሁ ራንክ ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ አንደኛ ኒውሮሎጂ ከሆነ የምትፈልጉት ኒውሮሎጂ ኢንተርቪው ያደረጋችኋቸውን 4 ኢንተርቪዎች መጀመሪያ ከ1 እስከ 4 ደርድራችሁ ከዛ ቀጥሎ ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን ኢንተርቪዎቻችሁን ወይም ቫይስ ቨርሳ ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ ስለዚህ ያ ደግሞ ኢምፖርታንት ነው what I'm saying is you can rank based on specialty you can rank your neurology interviews from 1 to 4 and then you can follow through the other interviews after that that's one thing the other thing is I think ህይወት አሁን ሴቶች ስላለች ወንዶች ላይ ደግሞ የምናየው ነገር አለ ለወንድ ደግሞ እዚህ I think one thing friendly ያልሆነው ነገር ለወንድ እዚያ ሀገር ምንድነው they want to check I think ሴቶች ትንሽ ለሴቶች ሶፍት ሊሆኑላቸው የሚችሉት they need to see your I mean temper you need to control your temper sometimes I mean it's important to I mean Malako said time and again you need to look at their eyes but sometimes I mean some people have I mean a different gaze I mean I'm going to meet this person for the first time and first impression is very important okay first impression is important look at their eyes but don't look at them like perplexed or like in rage or in like scare you need to control your like facial expression when you meet them first impression counts let's say whatever percentage counts for the whole interview so when you I mean in-person interview still and then I'm seeing it there's an in-person interview right now with COVID most programs have gone virtual but some people still invite you physically so ስትገቡ ጥሩ እጅ ጨበጣ የሚጨብጡ ከሆነ unusual ነው ግን አንዳንዶች ይጨብጣሉ ስቴ እና እጃቸውን ልከው እናንተ ኮቪድ ብላችሁ መቼም እጃችሁን ሰብስባችሁ መቅረት ትችላላችሁ ግን I think that may not be appropriate ወጣችሁ መታጠብ ትችላላችሁ ወይ ፊታችሁን አትንኩ ኮቪድ I'm talking about from first hand experience okay so you can I mean ብዙ ጊዜ ኤልቦአቸውን ከላኩ በኤልቦ አርጋችሁ አይናቸውን አይታችኋቸው ቁጭ ባሉ ስትባሉ ተቀመጡ እና ፊት ለፊት አይን ላይን ያያችሁ ተአውሩ ግን መጨማደድ ሼክ ማረግ and anxious ከሆናችሁ take a deep breath in person interview ላይ ማለት ነው ሌላ ነገር ደግሞ ምንድነው I think ብዙ ጊዜ የተወሰኑ ኢንተርቪውዎች ነበሩ ሬዚደንሲ I mean ጥያቄ ኒሞቶራክስ እንዴት ትሪት ይደረጋል something like that የነበረበት ማለት እንደዛ ብትሆኑ I don't think that's going to count hugely on your interview outcome don't just I mean if you don't remember it don't tell them you don't remember the answer for this you don't need to make up answers I mean most medical issues have specific answers ስለዚህ specific ጥያቄ ሬዚደንት ላይ ተጠይቀናል አንድ ፕሮግራሞች ላይ ኦኬ ኒሞቶራክስ እንዴት ነው የምታክመው ቴንሽን ኒሞቶራክስ ብሎ በስርዓት ቁጭ አለ ሰውየው ምታስታውሱ ከሆነ ያው በቃ ኒድል አስገባለሁ ምን ማላላ ብላችሁ መልሱ ካላወቃችሁት ደግሞ I think yeah excuse አሰጡ I don't remember it at this time ማለት ነው ዳዊት ያነሳቸው አንድ ሁለት ጥያቄዎች አሉ ቻሌንጂንግ ነገር ለምንድን ነው የገጠማችሁ ተብላችሁ ወይ ክራይሲስ ሲቹዌሽን አንዱ ነገር ምንድነው ሬዚደንት ስትሆኑ እዚህ ሀገር ክራይሲስ ሲቹዌሽኖች ይገጥማሉ ፕሮፌሽናል ይጋጫል ፕሮፌሽናልና በሽተኛ ይጋጫል እሱን ነገር ሰውም ሲሞትም ሲድንም ካልም ኮሌክትድ እንደሆናችሁ ስቴብል እንደሆናችሁ ማወቅ ይፈልጋሉ በስቴትመንት ንገሯቸው you don't need አንድ ኤግዛምፕል ስጧቸው ግን at the end እኔ አንዱ ትሬቴ I stay calm and comfortable I stay calm and controlled regardless of the outcome of the patient I try to mediate be a leader in my team እንዲሁም ድሮ የክፍል አለቃ ነበርኩኝ ወይም የኳስ ካፕቴን ነበርኩኝ whatever example you have I mean what you are of course ያ ሆናችሁትን ነው ብዙ ጊዜ ማብራራት የምትችሉና እንደዛ ብላችሁ በማብራራት ትችላላችሁ ስለዚህ ኬዝ ንገሩን ኮመን ነው ኬዝ ንገሩን ፋንሲ የሆኑ ኢትዮጵያ እዚህ ሀገር የሌሉ ኬዞችን ማሌሪያ ቲቢ ሲፊሊስ ሌፕረሲ ብትነግሯቸው will be perplexed እነሱ ትንሽ ሰርፕራይዝ እንደሚሆኑ ኢንፑትም አይኖራቸውም ለእናንተ የዛው ኮንቨርሴሽናችሁ ሊዘጋ ይችላል
በጣም ጥሩ ቴንክ ዩ በጣም I know maybe አንድ 20 ደቂቃ አለን አብዛኛውን ነገር ከቨር አድርገናል ብዬ አስባለሁ ሚስ ያደረጋችሁት ካሉ በኋላ ዩቲዩብ የጤና ወግ ዌብሳይት ላይ ፔጅ ላይ ይኖራል ይሄ ቪዲዮ እና እዛ ተመልሳችሁ ማየት ትችላላችሁ ግን ወደ ጥያቄዎቹ እንግባና አንዱ ከተጠየቁ ጥያቄዎች መካከል የመጀመሪያው የኦብዘርቨርሺፕ ሪኳየርመንት ቅድም ዶክተር ህይወት ሜንሽን አላደረግሽውም ብለዋል የመጀመሪያው ፕሬዘንቴሽንሽ ላይ እና እዛ እሱ እንዴት ነው is it still valuable በጣም required ነው ወይ ምን እናድርግ እንደሱ አይነት ነገር እንደማግኘት ኦፖርቹኒቲውን ነው የሚለው የመጀመሪያው ጥያቄ
Okay Dr. Malak thank you yeah I did actually the whole point cover አላደረኩትም I know because of time and just to make it short but regarding this specific question observership me and most of my friends currently apply ያደረግን ያለነው ልጆች we didn't get that opportunity because everywhere we ask the hospital policy for this COVID season is closed for observership, shadowing, and hands-on experiences. So we didn't find those. Me and most of my friends, ማለት ነው ግን ከዚህ season በኋላ hopefully ይከፈታል ብለን እናስባለን observership and this opportunity. So በተለያዩ ዌብሳይቶች እና after that follow ማድረግ ይቻላል. I hope ከዚህ በኋላ እኛ እንዳለፍንበት experience ይሆናል ብዬ አላስብም. But እኛ for this opportunity we are substituting it tele rotation and and something like that. እየሰራ ነው የነበረው። So our experience will not be repeated hopefully for the next years. But for the question, how important it is, of course it's important, but I'm not telling you አሁን ብዙ ቦታ ሰርች ስታደርጉ ምናምን it asks you like $1,000 or $2,000 even ማለት ነው just to get the chance. This is a lot of money, especially for someone who is in Addis or who's in Ethiopia or out of US. But try to connect with people who can get you like personally ይሄን ነገር ኦፈር የሚያደርጉላችሁ ወይም ደግሞ እዚህ መምጣት የምትችሉና እዚህ ያላችሁ ሰዎች ደግሞ ኮኔክት ፐርሰናሊ ማድረግ ከቻላችሁ so that would be easier. But for me, we didn't pass through that process, so I cannot be any of help for that, but inshallah
ሌሎቻችሁ አድ የምታደርጉ ነገር አለ ወይም ዶክተር ህይወት አንቺ ሌላ I don't know if the fellowship ደረጃ ላይ virtual ሮቴሽን ወይም ደግሞ አንቺ የምታውቂው ነገር ካለ ወይም ዴቭ ወይም ሌሎቻችሁ የምታውቁት ነገር ካለ ስለ ኦብዘርቨርሺፕ ኤክስፒሪየንሱ ወይም ደግሞ ስለዛ የምትሉት ነገር ካለ?
Hi. So the observership, it's kind of, it matters, and at the same time it doesn't matter. Why I'm saying this is in the application process, there are different parameters that are playing for your application, right? You can compensate. If you don't have research experience, you can compensate that during interview. You can show that you have interest. So it's kind of a different algorithm. So you shouldn't be, less confident or ashamed if you don't have specific parameter of the application process. For example, if you don't have clinical experience, or if you don't have research experience, because they will see you as a whole person. It's not about, they wouldn't say, hey, this applicant research experience lelilo aigabam ailum. And you shouldn't be ashamed by any of the parameters. CGMR. Clinical experience, it's good because you'll see the workflow and the work culture here in the US. And the other thing, clinical experience, Allah malet, someone personally in the US environment evaluate aderጓቸዋል ማለት ነው እና it kind of helps because of COVID. A lot of people they are not getting that chance. Again, at the same time, I heard some people there is a virtual visit for the patient, right? Especially primary care or specialty clinic follow-ups. Not the Zoom virtual meeting like telemedicine experience የሚያገኙ ሰዎች አሉ። ስለዛ that's one option regarding that. እና በአጠቃላይ ግን ስፔሲፊክ this questionን በሚመለከት ሳይሆን በአጠቃላይ አፕሊኬሽን ፕሮሰሱ ላይ ማወቅ ያለባችሁ ነገር መጀመሪያ how much prepared ነው በአፕሊኬሽን ላይ የሚለው፣ ሁለተኛ how many ፕሮግራም አፕላይ ያደረኩ ነው። ከዛ በኋላ ግን ፕሮግራሞች ቅድም ዶክተር አደራጀው እንዳለው thousands of applicant ነው አፕላይ የሚያደርገው። for example በእኔ ኤክስፒሪየንስ last year ሆነን ኢንተርቪው ኮኦርዲኔት ስናደርግ ፕሮግራማችን ስንት ነው 7400 ነው ምናምን ነው አፕሊካንት አፕላይ ያደረገው። ከዛ it's all about connection. Because program director, they have some sets of criteria. Step 1 ከ220 በላይ ያለው ወይ የሆነ ነምበር አላቸው ኤክስፒሪየንስ ያለው እያሉ ፊልተር አውት ያደርጋሉ። ከዛ በኋላ they will reach out hundreds of applicants. They use geography and different parameters. Then someone has to tell the program director to open your application document. So make sure that you connect a lot of people, like use Facebook, LinkedIn, Doximity, use all the social media, and use, like, if you know Dr. Hiwi, use her friends on the, Facebook and LinkedIn, and ask people through that channel, so that you can have multiple people. Then 100 people ኮንታክት አድርጋችሁ ከሆነ ከመቶ 50 ሊመልሱላችሁ ይችላሉ። 50 መለሱላችሁ ማለት ደግሞ ከ50 ውስጥ እሺ መልሰው እሺ የሚሏችሁ 25 ሊሆን ይችላል። ከዛ ደግሞ እሺ ብለዋችሁ ደግሞ ማያስገባ ሰው አለ። then it goes to 15 ሰው። ስለዛ ሞር 200 ሰው ኮንታክት ካደረጋችሁ ሞር ፋይናሊ ፒራሚዱ ሲመጣ ሞር ቻንስ ይኖራቸዋል። ስለዛ it's all about networking ነው። ቴንክ ዩ።
አንድ ነገር ኔትወርኪንግ ላይ ማለት የምፈልገው it's very important አንተ እንዳልከው፣ ነገር ግን አንዳንድ ጊዜ like it has to be also someone that you know really personal recommend እንዲያደርጓችሁ ስትጠይቁ ወይም ደግሞ ስለናንተ የናንተን ስም ለፕሮግራም ዳይሬክተሩ እንዲነግሩላችሁ ወይም እነሱ ራሳቸው on your behalf ስለናንተ advocate እንዲያደርጉ, even emailing their own program director. እኛ የተማርንበት በዚህ ፕሮግራም ውስጥ ያለፍነው ሰዎች we have የኛ ፕሮግራም ዳይሬክተሮች ያውቁናል፣ ጥሩ ሪሌሽንሽፕ አለን፣ የኛን ኢንፑት ቫልዩ ያደርጉናል እና እኛንም for lack of a better word መዋረድ የለብንም, because if I'm putting my name out for you, I have to know you. ምን ለማለት ነው? ዝም ብለን like if it's just like cold emailing everyone like and 100 ሰው ወይ 200 ሰው, it's going to be hard. So the best way is like maybe you should have a strategy ቢኖራችሁ, it's more valuable. So reach out to people that you know directly, like ድሮ ኢትዮጵያ አብራችሁ የሰራችሁት ሊሆን ይችላል፣ የዘመድ ጓደኛ፣ ጎረቤት፣ ሚስት፣ ልጅ፣ አጎት, like I mean I'm trying to say is like find a connection, reach out to them, and then maybe first time say, hey, can I talk to you about my application? Can I ask you some questions? Do you have 5 minutes this week for me to kind of talk to you? And once you get to know them, once you talk to them, then they feel more comfortable. አሁን ህይወት በነበረችበት ፖዚሽን ላይ እኔ ለሜዲካል ስኩል ነበርኩኝና I understand some of like we used to have like students also part of like interview ከሚያደርጉት መካከል እና she has a lot of power, but that doesn't mean እሷ ኢሜል የተደረገላትን ሁሉ ወይም የጠየቃትን ሁሉ መርዳት ትችላለች ማለት ነው, because she cannot እዛ ፖዚሽን ላይ ያለ ሰው 10 ሰው ቢጠይቃት 10ሩንም ሬኮመንድ ካደረገች ለፕሮግራም ዳይሬክተሯ it sounds fake, like it doesn't like it sounds like የሷንም ስም ነው የሚያጠፋውና የሌላውንም ሰውና it's better if they really know you. So it's best if you can really find someone ስለናንተ ለዛ ፕሮግራም ስማችሁን እንዲሰጡላችሁና people your seniors, people that you're friends with, ከናንተ አንድ አመት የቀደሙ, it's better if you get it from someone that you know. The same thing with letter of recommendation. It's better if you get it from someone that really says a lot of things, nice things, and brag about you, instead of just getting a letter of recommendation for the sake of getting one. ቅድም እንደተባለው 3 ቀን ከሚያውቃችሁ ሰው እና እንደዛ ብሎ ከሚጽፍ, ኢትዮጵያ ነበረ, I'm the hospital director, he was one of my best doctors and I'm very sad to miss him, or I'm very sad to miss her, and she'll be an honor to any program. እንደዛ በደንብ አድርገው ምናምን ስለናንተ የሚጽፉት ነገር, it has much more value than አንድ ሰው እኔን ኢሜል አድርጎልኝ እኔ የነሱን ደግሞ we talked online, he seems like a good guy ምናምን ብዬ እኔ ብጽፍ, that it's not a strong one. And I just wanted to add that. እስቲ ሌላ የምትሉት ነገር አለ regarding this topic?
Well, I want to add one point. Sorry.
No, you can go ahead.
Sorry, I was not planning, but I remember something that happened last year. So friend, someone I know asked me to recommend them to a program, and I actually sent their information to actually assistant program director to that place, and they send me their information, their scores, and they said, okay, we'll look into them. And they actually went and looked, and then the sad part was like they sent me information like with their score higher than this actually is. And the program director told me, hey, you sent me this score, but the score is different. It's like very sad. Like I said, I apologize, and I just passed the information, and it looks so bad on me. I'm not even asking again that program, because first thing is like, I trusted and just said pass the information as it is, and next time they say, oh, the people he recommends actually he doesn't know that much, right? That's how it reflected on me. Like, this is a place where I actually could have more connection, but I don't want to ask again, because this kind of things breaks connection. And so be honest all the time. Like whatever you ask, your scores may not be the best, but people are still gonna get calls. So like, don't be shy about your scores. Being honest is the first thing that you have to, especially with people you're asking favor for. And I think, yeah, that's the point I wanted to highlight.
እኔም አክቹዋሊ ፍፄ እንደዛ አይነት ነገር ለማውራት ነበር። ሃዋርድ እያለን ደበብ የምናደርገው በጣም ብዙ ሰው ነው የሚጠይቀን፣ ላይክ ቢካዝ ሃዋርድ ኢዝ አይኤምጂ ፍሬንድሊ እና ላይክ ኢትዮጵያኖች አሉ አትሊስት ፐር ባች ላይክ 4-5 ኢትዮጵያ ይኖራል እና ምንድነው የምናደርገው እንዳለ የሚልኩልን ሰዎች እንሰበስብና አንድ ላይ ግሩፕ አለን። then የነሱን አስቀምጠን ሪሊ መምጣት የሚፈልገው ሰው ማን ነው to this program፣ ከዛ ደግሞ ማን ነው ቤኔፊት የሚያደርገው፣ ከዛ እንከፋፈላለን። ሁላችንም ሄደን 3-4 ሰው ላይክ ኢንተርቪው እንዲሰራ እናደርጋለን። that's really helpful ማለት at one point እኛም የሆኑ ሰዎች ረድተውናል። ከዛ ደግሞ we're really happy to help you guys። ግን አሁን ፍፄ እንዳለው እኔም እንደዚህ አይነት ነገር አጋጥሞኛል። እንትን አትበሉ፣ like tell us like honest የሆነ ነገር ንገሩን። and then the other thing ምን እንደሆነ ማን እንደሆነ የት እንደተማረ ማላውቀው ሰው especially on this time it takes to our email like any social media ላይ ምናምን አገኛለሁ እና እንትና ባላለው can you recommend me like እንደዚህ ለፕሮግራምሽ and I was like I don't know that person, like I don't know yet እንደተማረ አላውቅም። እንዴት ብዬ ነው relate ማለት like I don't care about your scores ማለት ሰውን recommend ለማድረግ I really don't care about your scores። ግን ከእናንተ ጋር relate የሚያደርገኝን I need something like I just have to say oh I know this person እንደዚህ or ደግሞ አትሊስት አሁን ለምሳሌ አሁን አዲስ አበባ ዩኒቨርሲቲ የጨረስኩት አይደል፣ አዲስ አበባ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ተምረዋል at one point እንትን አድርገናል or ደግሞ እሱን የሚያውቀው ሰው ጋር relate አድርጌ እንደዛ ኮንፊደንት ሆኜ መናገርና ምክንያቱም ብዙ ጊዜ ቅድምም እንደተባለው the program directors እነሱም they're really anxious ማለት who am I gonna ኢንተርቪው ማንን ነው የማደርገው ማንን ነው የምወስደው to my program። ምክንያቱም እነሱም መጥቶ like በጣም መጥፎ ሰው መቀበል አይፈልጉም in terms of ባህሪ። እንደውም ውጤታችሁ መጥፎ ሆኖ ጥሩ ሰው ብትሆኑ ይሻላቸዋል። ምክንያቱም ገብታችሁ the whole አንድ መጥፎ like ጥቂት እርሾ ነው ሌላውን የሚያቦካው አይደል፣ ልክ እንደዛ ማለት ነው። አንድ መጥፎ ባህሪ ያለው ሰው እዛ ፕሮግራም ከገባ he's gonna mess up everything literally toxic ነው የሚሆነው። በቃ ይመራቸዋል literally እንደዛ አይነት environment መሆን አትፈልጉም። ምክንያቱም ኦንኮል ሲመደብ ኮምፕሌን የሚያደርግ ከሆነ በየቀኑ እንትን የሚያደርግ ኮላውት የሚያደርግ ከሆነ ምናምን you don't want to have this kind of people in your program እና ምንም ሳላቅ በኮንፊደንስ ሂጂ oh I know this person እና ተቀበለው ማለት አልችልም። if I know you well በሆነ ነገር ሪሌት ማድረግ የምችል ከሆነ ከአንተ ጋር or ከአንቺ ጋር like I can recommend it's not a problem like you can recommend ነገር እና at least ስትጠይቁ ቅድም እንደተባለው just make sure ከሆነ ነገር like at least just give us a background and አሁንም እንዳልኩት it's not about your score, it's not about your research stuff and everything, but just give us something እንትን ማለት ነው ሰዋዊ ያደረጋችሁ ሰውነታችሁን የሚያሳየን ነገር ማለት ነው እና እሱን አድርጉ። and then እናንተም like እዚህኛው ስቴጅ ጋር ስትደርሱ just make sure ምክንያቱም I see from other programs like they help each other like other programs in sense other people like Indians, the Pakistani people and everything, and I'm really thankful like we have this ምክንያቱም አዲስ ነው። I remember the challenges I had like apply ሳደርግ ብዙ ማውቀው ሰው አልነበረም ምናምን እና ይሄኛው እንትን መኖሩ በጣም it's really helpful እና we're so happy to help you guys። ግን at the same time እናንተም like ስቴጅ ጋር ስትደርሱ just make sure that you're helping someone ምክንያቱም ቅድም ተብሏል ነፍ ሰው ነው አፕላይ የሚያደርገው እና can you imagine like if you have 5,000 applicants like how are you going to choose like which one is going to fit to your program and everything. And as I said before, it's not about like really having high scores and everything. It's all about like fitting to that program. So እናንተም ኢንተርቪው ለማድረግ ስትሄዱ እንደምትጨነቁት in the program director is like I remember on interview እንትን ስናደርግ ፕሮግራም ዳይሬክተር አሁን ያለው ማለት ነው ምንድን ያለኝ ፕሊዝ ላይክ ስትኖሪ just make sure እንትን ማያረግ ሰው ፊት አያረግም ብለሽ የምታስቢውን ሰው ካለ just write their name down and just give it to me ብሎኛል ማለት ነው እና this much ነው የሚያስጨንቃቸው እነሱን ማለት ነው ስለዚህ እሱን ነው መጨመር የፈለኩት thank you
አንድ ቲንግ በመጨረሻ ለመጨመር በኔትወርኪንግ ሰው ኔትወርክ ስንሰራ ብዙ ጊዜ we are the senior, right? Now, if we went to the same, university or the same medical school, we tend to not to know the juniors. By nature, we know more about our seniors than our juniors medical school. So when you ask people for, recommendation or for anything, make sure that you tell them that you were their junior around like even touch because usually we forget our juniors. So create that connection when you ask around people. And the other thing, the second thing, different internal medicine, different application apply there are people out there network ስታደርጉ አሁን የኔ ባለቤቴ apply ስታደርግ she was applying for radiology. She didn't know there are people applying for radiology. So when you search around, know that there are people out there, even if you are applying other than internal medicine. Thank you.
ወደሚቀጥለው ጥያቄ ከመግባታችን በፊት አንድ ላስት ነገር መጨመር የምፈልገው this networking and like recommending someone, it also goes into after residency, after fellowship, in real life. So when you make that connection and you have people in your network and they trust you, in the future, you also give back and help your own juniors. In real life, people also like connecting and networking for jobs. In our medical field, as much as your higher education is important, it's also very, very important to have a good interpersonal skill, like someone that you can trust, someone that you recommend. So let's say there's a few internists in this group and we happen to be, know someone who's looking to hire a hospitalist or someone is looking for a job in the DC area. And if someone is moving to where I am, or if I'm moving there, I can reach out to them. And if they know me, they can easily get me that job. So they can recommend me. If it's a private group, they can feel comfortable letting me join that group. So it's sometimes this networking goes beyond residency, beyond fellowship to real life. So you also don't want to ruin your relationship by not by making us look bad or making people that are trying to help you look bad. So be careful, just to be honest, and make the most out of your experience, because it goes way beyond residency and fellowship. The second question is kind of like, I guess in a way, having additional degrees. Does that really help? A PhD or a master's or things like that when we apply for residency? So if anybody wants to take that question.
Yeah, I think I would do that. I mean, I did a master's in physiology / pharmacology, and I mean, there's advantage, I guess, and there's a disadvantage. Nobody knows, really exactly, but it depends on the program. It always depends on the program, okay? Some program would like to have, particularly for residency, I'm talking about for residency, they would like to have someone like new graduates without experience, they can polish, okay? Other people may want to have someone who's a little bit experienced and stuff like that and be independent day one, and they maybe even give education to medical students, things like that. So they are always thinking about themselves, okay? They're not thinking about you, when they consider your candidacy. So it just depends. I mean, but it's not going to change who you are. So you cannot erase your master's or PhD if you already had it. Or you cannot attain a new PhD or MSc just for the sake of joining a residency. So I guess the whole secret here is, again, presenting yourself in the best way possible. So you need to make sure that how is that meaningful? Nobody knows your PhD more than yourself. Nobody knows your subject matter more than yourself. So educate them when you get your interview. I mean, if you are not invited, you cannot change anything about it. If you are invited already, tell them how it's related to your current position, how you want to take advantage of it in the future. So I think that's how I see it. I mean, I have friends who did the PhD and got what they want because of that. They got a research, related position. I mean, there are people who took advantage of their background, their training outside the United States, additional training. So I think there is always a space. There is always, I would say, once you are what you are, you have to try to make it like an opportunity. And so that's all I can say about it.
I think I agree with that, Daraja. If you already have it, that would be really helpful. And then like I always just show them that like how it's gonna help you as a clinician or like ወደፊት career-አችሁን እንዴት እንደሚረዳችሁ ማሳየት ነው. If you don't have it or like ለዚህ purpose ይጠቅመኛል ብላችሁ ካሰባችሁ ግን I don't think it's a wise choice like to do it. Now maybe MPH program ምናምን right, especially if you're going to a university program or something እና more research ነገር ላይ interested ከሆናችሁ ምናምን it's a plus ማለት ጥሩ ነው ነገር. ግን ለዚህ purpose let me pursue this or like ብላችሁ ከዚህ በኋላ ፕላን እያደረጋችሁ ከሆነ it's better to focus on other stuff than doing your እነዚህ ነገሮች ማስተርስ ፕሮግራም or something ከመስራት ማለት that's my opinion. ግን አሁንም ማለት የምፈልገው this all things are like subjective ነገሮች አሉ ማለት objective part is basic expect የሚደረግብን ነገር አለ just to apply for like you know the residency program. Objective part is like what like expect የሚደረገው ወይም CFMG ያስቀመጣቸው የሚፈለጉት ነገሮች አሉ. Those are like the basic stuff like እንቀይረውን ብንል ምንቀይረው ነገር አይደለም. ግን the other part is more subjective ነው. It depends like ለምሳሌ አሁን ቅድም አደራጀ እንዳለው እሱ ኢንተርቪው ሲያደርግ የሚያገኘው ሰው ፊዚዮሎጂ ተማሪው similar experience background ያለው ሰው ከሆነ he'll be interested እና like ኢንተርቪው ላይ more ልታወሩ ትችላላችሁ. ሌላ ደግሞ more ላይፉን ሪሰርች ነገር ላይ ፎከስ ያደርግ የነበረው ክሊኒሻን የነበረ ሰው ጋር ለሱ ምንም ትርጉም ላይሰጠ ይችላል እና it's more ስለዚህ እንትን ነው ይሄኛው ይሆናል አይሆንም እንደዚህ ነው እንደዛ ነው አይደለም. it's very very subjective. አንድ ሰውን ኢምፕረስ የሚያደርገው ነገር ሌላውን አያደርገውም. ለዛ ነው ኢንተርቪው ያደርጋችሁ ብዙ ሰው ጋር ኢንተርቪው ባደርጋችሁ ቁጥር ታዩታላችሁ የሆነ እናንተ ኢንተረስቲንግ አይደለም ብላችሁ ግን ለሁሉም ላስቀምጠው CV ላይ ብላችሁ ያስቀመጣችሁት ነገር በጣም ትንሿ ነገር somebodyን በጣም ኢምፕረስ ያደርገውና the whole interview like 20 ደቂቃ ከተመደበ ስለሱ 40 ደቂቃ አውርታችሁ ልትወጡ ትችላላችሁ. እኔ እንደዛ አጋጥሞኝ ስለሚያውቅ ነውና ስለዚህ it's not እንትን አይደለም ይሄ እንደዚህ ባረግ ጥሩ ነው እንደዚህ ምናምን ሳይሆን if you think ለእናንተ የሚረዳችሁ ካሰባችሁ do it ለራሳችሁ ብላችሁ ማለት ነው። ግን ስፔሲፊካሊ ለሬዚደንሲ አፕሊኬሽን ምናምን ብላችሁ ግን እንደዚህ አይነት ትልቅ ነው 2 years or probably ከፍላችሁ ነው የምትማሩት or something እንደዛ ማድረግ ጥሩ አይደለም። እኔ አሁን እዚህ ስመጣት እዚህ ለኛል MPH መማር አሰብኩኝ I thought it will be helpful እና for እንትን ከዛ I was like search ያደረኩኝ አንድ ሰው አገኘው like ከኔ በአንድ አመት senior like you know እየተማሪ ነበርና like ስጠይቀው ምናምን oh don't waste your time ማለት like you know MPH ሳይሰራ ማች ያደረገ ሰው አለ if you really need it go for it ግን ለዚህ purpose specifically ብላችሁ አታድርጉት። ስለዚህ just it's very very subjective እና ለራሳችሁ እንትን አድርጉት ነገር ይጠቅማል አይጠቅመኝም የሚለውን ራሳችሁ ብታዩት ይሻላል ነገር። thank you
በጣም ጥሩ thank you ዶክተር ህይወት። አሁን እንደዛ ስትይ ስለ ኢንተርቪው አንድ ቶፒክ ትዝ አለኝ። እኔ residency interview በማድረግበት ሰዓት I don't know if you guys remember this book Cutting for let me just say, yeah, Cutting for Stone የሚባለው book by Abraham Varghese ስለ ኢትዮጵያዊ Indian author doctor ስለ ኢትዮጵያ experience ነው እና that was something a lot of interview applicants somehow, this was back then, they seem to know about it and they seem to ask me, hey, did you read this book? And it was just like a random thing and I happened to read it, and they will just ask you about that book and the content, and it has nothing to do with me. And it happened at least 3 places separate, and it was people who just, there's a lot of Indian physicians in most residency programs. They do see that as a connection to them about Ethiopian medical field, and somehow they do mention it. And if there's anything like that, they might ask you, and if you happen to know about it, it's great, then it makes you look good and you can answer those questions. If you don't know about it, you can play along and say, oh, wow, you know, that's very interesting. I'm going to read it. And thank you for your suggestion. But I know this other book that talks about something else, and you can kind of like have a natural conversation and try to make the most of your experience that way. Going back to like advanced degrees, when you apply, master's, PhD, obviously sometimes it might be too late to change it. But in general, it also depends on who's interviewing you and what kind of program it is. It's very important to have research and PhD experience if you're going into fellowship. It might help you more. But for residency, maybe is my answer, because it's if you're going to a strong academic program, a university program that has a lot of research, and you have a PhD in, let's say, some like, you know, biology or biochemistry or anything, then they might have someone, and you can use it to your advantage to get into that program. If you're applying to a small community program in Iowa, not to say anything negative about the Midwest, because that's where I lived most of my life, but if you're applying to like a small program in the middle of nowhere, right? Nobody really cares about your PhD. They want someone who's more personable. They want someone who's going to stay there. They want to know if you have local connection, because they want to train you and they want you to stay there if possible to help that community, because most people tend to move to big cities, especially in this country, you know, Chicago, DC, LA, New York, that sort of stuff, Atlanta, like, you know, those are like the big surrounding communities that people tend to, but of course people live everywhere. But if you're not from that specific area, for a small community place, they may not care about you. A master's sometimes will help you to get a job, especially if it's like a faculty position once you graduate. It may not help you for the residency itself, but if you have a master's in something or a PhD, once you graduate to get to fellowship and to get a job, especially if it's like an assistant professor or a teaching faculty position, it may have a better role. But in general, it depends on where you apply and who is interviewing you. I've had interviews where the interviewer was research oriented, and that's all they care about. So they will ask you, hey, you know, it looks like when you were in Ethiopia, or if that's your case, you did research on HIV, you know, tell us more about that. So you want to know, like, you know, who's interviewing you, and because they will likely ask you something that they feel comfortable questioning you. So those are my suggestion. The other thing is like something mentioned earlier in terms of age cutoff. If you're an older applicant, should you be nervous? If anybody wants to answer that.
I think I guess I'm the oldest, Fitzo, is that right?
I'll let you go. I'm not going to answer that.
Okay. I guess, I mean, you have to be a little bit, adrenaline is important always in life, you know. You have to be nervous about your weakness, but not in front of an interview, right? So you have to remedy whatever you have, right? So I mean, there are programs, to be honest with you, who's going to cut you out from the interview because you graduated more than 5 years. I mean, longer than 5 years, okay? So they're gonna cut you out of the interview. You're not gonna do anything about it unless you have someone like special connection over there, okay? So I'm nothing to do over there. Okay, I think maybe how to mitigate that when you are interviewing, that's important, okay? So I think let me tell you some personal experience. I mean, someone joined residency after 40 years, and I mean, the program director said the reason she hired him, she put him in the program is because she saw he was so energetic. He was so passionate during the interview. He thought he was so fit, physically fit. Yeah. So I think the way to mitigate that is, one, I mean, can you work with people? Do you want to be a boss because they are younger than you? Tell them you don't have that character. I mean, tell them that based on your experience. Okay. I mean, I work with you. I mean, I would just forget about your colleagues, co-residents. Think about the other people. I mean, based on your experience, we here are not telling you to lie, okay? Nobody should tell you to lie, but based on your experience, if you have the humbleness, show them. If you are humble, if you have the humility to work, help people who are seen under you based on the status, a professional status. Did you work well with janitors back home? I mean, we do, right? Did you work well with maybe the security person? I mean, tell them about your experience there. Have you been friends with the security person? Have you been friends with the janitor? Yeah, I mean, I think we have been, right? If you have that experience, tell them, did you help the patient in a desperate condition? Did you help them financially? We have a lot of disadvantaged patient population. What interaction did you have? Show them your heart. You are not stubborn. If you are not stubborn, show them how you are open to learning. You are not rigid. Show them how you are flexible based on your experience. So I think what matters is during the interview process, show them what age is not making you. It's making you wiser, but it's not making you egoistic. It's not making you rigid. It's not making you, I mean, whatever side effect of age is.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it is illegal to discriminate you based on age to begin with. So no one will come out and say that we're not gonna take you because of your age or the way you look, or sometimes even there are studies that show there is bias based on what the person looks like and how likely you are going to get an interview invitation. Yes, most places want people that look like them. If you're applying to an internal medicine program with no IMGs, they may not be as friendly. Your chance is very low. If you're applying to Howard or other places, like my residency program was Jacobi Medical Center, Einstein in New York, we have about maybe like 40 internal medicine doctors. Out of those, half of them are IMGs, extremely friendly IMG programs. You go to some places that don't really have IMG residents. So that kind of gives you a sense of where you fit. You look at their residents picture and their fellows picture, where they match. And if there is someone that kind of looks like you, it's a very friendly program for you. if for the most part, most IMG applicants are usually a few years out of training anyways. So they don't, they're most applicants, if you're like, within that reasonable, you're in 30s, 40s, 50s, I don't think they really care, and that should not be a factor. And as it was said before, you can also use it to your advantage. It's like, hey, I've been wiser, I learned a lot, I still am very humble, I know how to work people. I understand how. One thing that we really don't understand, especially people who come out of even med school, even in this country, is the politics of residency, the politics of real life, how things work. So as much as they care about your work ethic and your scores, they care about your personality. And if they see you as someone that can fit with the program, you're not being rude to other applicants, right? You're not being disruptive on your Zoom interviews, you're not being loud, you're not trying to dominate the whole interview. They see those things as someone of a quality in terms of a team player and someone that they can see working with you for the next 3 years. The problem is once they pick you and once you match, it's like marriage, you're stuck. And you're like there for 3 years and they don't want to be with someone that doesn't really fit. So I think more than the age factor itself, your personality is more important. And honestly, I can say this with confidence, 99.9% of the time, us Ethiopians, Eritreans, Africans in general, in those positions are extremely competent physicians, very, very nice and humble and hardworking doctors in person in general. So I don't think, unless you're extremely an outlier, you will have that problem. So I wouldn't stress that much about being discriminated based on that age or otherwise. The next question is, I just wanted to make sure that we address it. It was asked a couple of times. And it is kind of true. A lot of us go into internal medicine. Some of it might be just exposure and comfort. But people are asking, how about emergency medicine, surgery? How hard is it? Interventional radiology? I do see that a lot more people are applying to those programs nowadays. But if how competitive it is, and if that's something that someone is interested in, what are some of the things that they should know about? And if you guys want to chime in on those.
I think ሁላችንም ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን እና ጥሩ ኤክስፒሪየንስ ያለን አይመስለኝም። ስፔሻሊ ደግሞ ለኢትዮጵያኖች ማለት ነው። ፕሮባብሊ ልክ ስትመጡ ሁሉም ሰው የሚነግራችሁ ሁሉም ሰው የገባው ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን ነው። ስለዚህ የእነሱን ስቴፕስ ነው የምንከተለው። ግን አሪፉ ነገር for past few years I think we're seeing people radiology, I even know ሰው neurosurgery የገባ ሰው እና like surgery ደግሞ I think Dr. Cross, she was supposed to be here መሰለኝ እና የገቡ ሰዎች አሉ። ቅድም እንደተባለው ለኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን የሚሰራው ነገር በሙሉ ለእነዚህም ስፔሻሊስቶች ይሰራል እና ከቻላችሁ ጥሩ ኤክስፒሪየንስ እንዲኖራችሁ አትሊስት የዩኤስ ኤክስፒሪየንስ እንዲኖራችሁ like more involved in research activities and then more የምታውቁት ከነዚህ ሰዎች ጋር ኮኔክሽን እንዲኖራችሁ ጥረት ማድረግ ጥሩ ይመስለኛል። ሜቢ ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን አፕላይ ስታደርጉ ዳይሬክትሊ አፕላይ ማድረግ ይቻል ይሆናል like ኤግዛማችሁ እንደጨረሳችሁ ምናምን። ግን እንግዲህ ከኤክስፒሪየንስ ወይም ካዩዋቸው ሰዎች some of them like 1 ዓመት ወይ 2 ዓመት አቁመው ሪሰርች ነገሮችን የሰሩ ስፔሲፊካሊ እንዳታውን አንድ ጓደኛ አለኝ this year apply የሚያደርግ ሬዲዮሎጂ ነው more interested የሆነው እና 2 ዓመት ቁጭ ብሎ ሪሰርች ኮኦርዲኔተር ሆኖ ሪሰርች ሬዲዮሎጂ ስታፍ ጋር ሲሰራ ነበር። ምናልባት የሚጠየቀው ነገር more ሊሆን ይችላል። ግን I'm sure in the future more ኢትዮጵያኖች እንደዚህ አይነት ፕሮግራሞች ውስጥ እየገቡ ሲሄዱ ለእናንተም ኮንታክት ፐርሰን ይሆናቸውና እንደዚህ አይነት በጣም ረጅም የሆነ ፕሮሰስ ውስጥ እንዳትገቡ ይረዳቸዋል። ምክንያቱም ሌላ ዲፓርትመንት ብትሄዱ ለምሳሌ ሃዋርድ ሰርጀሪ ዲፓርትመንት አለ። ኤምጂ ብቻ ለሚገባው አይኤምጂ የሌላ ሀገር አይኤምጂዎች ይገባሉ ነገር እነሱ ከየት አመጡት? ፕሮባብሊ ዩኤስኤምኤል ፕሮሰሶችን የጀመሩት ከኛ በጣም ፕሮባብሊ ቀድመው በጣም ብዙ ሰዎች እንደዚህ አይነት ዲፓርትመንት ሰርጀሪ ኦር አዘር ዲፓርትመንቶች ኖረው እነሱ ሰዎች ረድተዋቸው ሊሆን ይችላል። ወይም ፕሮባብሊ ደግሞ እንደዛ ነው የሚሆነው እና ችግሩ ምንድነው ፕሮግራም ዳይሬክተሮች ኢንተርቪው ሲጠሩ or something ብዙ ስለማያውቁ ወይም ብዙ ኤክስፒሪየንስ ስለሌላቸው ወይም አንዳንዶቹ ኢትዮጵያ ምን እንደሆነች ሁላ ማያውቁም ሰዎች አሉና እነዚህን ሰዎች more introduced ሲደረጉ ለእንደዚህ አይነት ነገሮች I think it will be easy in the future ግን still ፓሽናችሁ እሱ ከሆነ እና እዚህ ሀገር ሆናችሁ ሰፖርት የሚያደርጋችሁ ሰው ካለ ቁጭ ብላችሁ ሪሰርች ነገሮች ውስጥ ኢንቮልቭ ለማድረግ ወይ ኦብዘርቨርሺፕ እንደዚህ ኮኔክት ለማድረግ ታይም ወስደን that's what we want እና ምንም ነገር ለመክፈል ዝግጁ ነን ካላችሁ I think you can go for it ነው የምለው እኔ thank you
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Hewitt. Yeah, Dr. Tarasim, ወይም ሌሎች surgery residency ወይም አሁን የተመረቁ ልጆች የምታውቋቸው ካሉ they are your best resource. እንደዚህ እነሱ ያለፉትን LinkedIn ላይ ወይም ደግሞ ሌላ social media ላይ you can reach out to them and say, hey, you know, I saw that you are a surgery resident at so and so. I'm really interested. I'm passionate. Can I talk to you one day, or can you give me like 5 minutes and can we chat, or can I ask you some questions? And now it's good to have find someone that went through that same process, and then that will help you. Interventional radiology is something that I'm seeing a lot of people are applying. EM, you know, I see a lot of other immigrants applying into, but I don't see us Ethiopians as much. But you should, you know, look into it. And there's no absolute reason you shouldn't apply to those programs if you're passionate about it. It may be harder because they don't know you. You may not know the process. You may not have the right mentor yet, but find someone, be nice to them, let them show you, and then you should be okay. Go ahead, Dr. Ander.
Okay, I think he እንዳለችው ያው ብዙ እኛ እዚህ ያለ ነው ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን ግን ጓደኞቻችን የገቡ አሉ ያየሁት ነገር ምንድነው the greatest factor ብዬ ማስበው ሁለት ነገር አንደኛ በተለይ ኢትዮጵያ ሆናችሁ ሰርጀሪ እየሰራችሁ ያላችሁ ኢመርጀንሲ ሜዲሲን እየሰራችሁ ያላችሁ ኦብስቴትሪክስ እየሰራችሁ ያላችሁ አnesthesiology እየሰራችሁ ያላችሁ ሰዎች if you excel on your work and ያን ፐርሲው የምታደርጉ ከሆነ ኢምፖሲብል ነው ብዬ አላስብም ምክንያቱም አሁን በተናገርኳቸው ፊልዶች የገቡ ሰዎች አሉ የገቡ ሰዎች ብቻ ሳይሆኑ በጣም ጥሩ ፕሮግራም የገቡ ሰዎች አሉ እንዴት ነው የገቡት I mean ማቃቸው ሰዎች መካከል ለምሳሌ አሁን ሮቦቲክ ሰርጀሪ ድረስ እየሰራ ያለ ወንድማችን አለ በጣም ፐርሰናሊ ማቃው ኢትዮጵያ በነበርኩበት ጊዜ እሱ ሬዚደንት የነበረ ስለዚህ ምንድነው አንደኛ መተዋወቅ ሰዎቹ ሊያውቋችሁ ይገባል በዛ ስኪላችሁ ኢትዮጵያ መጣው ለድንገት ለሆነ ጉዳይ ካወቋችሁና እነዛ ሰዎች እዚህ ሀገር ፕራክቲስ የሚያደርጉ አሜሪካን ሰርጀንስ አሜሪካን ደርማቶሎጂስት አሜሪካን whatever ከሆኑ I mean work from ኢትዮጵያ ያላችሁ መስራት ትችላላችሁ ወይም ደግሞ አፊሊዬሽን ኔትወርኪንግ በዛ ፊልድ ኔትወርኪንግ መጀመር አለባችሁ እዛው ናችሁ ያ ነው ኢምፖርታንቱ ነገር ብዬ የምለው ሌላ ነገር ደግሞ ኤክስትራኦርዲናሪ አቺቭመንት ኤክስትራኦርዲናሪ ሆኖ ሳይሆን ኮንትሪቢዩሽን ያላቸው ሰዎች የገቡ ምናቀው ጓደኛችን በሆነ ሳብጀክት በጣም ሬር ሰው መጽሐፍ ጽፏል ኢትዮጵያው ነው መጽሐፍ ጽፏል መጣ ማች አረገ በዛ ፕሮግራም ሬር በሆነ ፕሮግራም እና መጽሐፍ ጽፏል ሬር ዲዝ ኢትዮጵያ የቆዳ በሽታዎች እስከ አትላሳቸው ነበረው I mean this is impressive here ከሜዲካል ስኩል ወጦ ሰዎቹ ከሱ ጋር ነው ኮምፒት የሚያደርጉት እና እሱ ደግሞ he showing them his work right ያ ነው ሌላ ነገር ደግሞ ምንድነው ከኮኔክሽን በላይ በኮንፈረንስ ብትገናኙ ከነሱ ጋር ኔትወርኪንግ ኦፖርቹኒቲ የሚባል ምናልባት የጤና ወግ at some point ሌላ ሳይኮሎጂስትም ስፒከርም something አምጥቶ ኔትወርኪንግ ማድረግ የሚቻለው እንዴት ነው በምትፈልጉት ፊልድ ኔትወርክ ታለንቱ ካላችሁ ሳክሲድ ማታረጉበት ምክንያት የለም ታቡ አይደለም not every African physician should be trained in internal medicine እንደዛ አይመስለኝም it can be ሁሉም ሰው በሚፈልገው ፊልድ ትሬንድ መሆን የሚችል ይመስለኛል። ኦፍ ኮርስ እዚህም ኮምፒቲቲቭ ነው። እዚህም ሀገር ላሉ በኮምፒቲቲቭነስ ምክንያት ወደ ተለያየ ፊልድ ይገባል። ወይም ደግሞ አንዳንድ ሰው ምንድነው የሚያደርገው ሰርጂካል እንትኑን ኢንተርናል ሜዲሲን ትሬን አድርጎ ኢንተርቬንሽናል ካርዲዮሎጂስት ይሆናል። ወይም ደግሞ ፑልሞናሪ ክሪቲካል ኬር ሆኖ ብሮንክን ይሰራል፣ የተለያዩ ፕሮሲጀሮችን ይሰራል። እንደዛም ዳይቨርት ልታደርጉት ትችላላችሁ። ግን I mean nothing is closed.
ቴንክ ዩ በጣም አይ ኖው ኦልሞስት 2 ሰዓት ተኩል አካባቢ ሆነን እስካሁን ስንወያይ የቻልነውን ያሳለፍነውን ኤክስፒሪየንሳችንን ሼር ስናደርግ ነበረ። እንግዲህ የተረፈውን ወደፊት በዩቲዩብ ላይም ወይም በዌብሳይት ላይም ወይም በኢሜይልም የጤና ወግ ላይም እንደዚሁ ሼር እያደረግን ጥያቄዎቻችሁን ለመመለስ እንሞክራለን። ወደ መጨረሻው ከመግባቴ በፊት ወይም ከመዝጋታችን በፊት ለሁላችሁም እንግዲህ ድሉን ሰጣችኋለሁ። if there's anything that you want to say, any closing statement, እስቲ ስለናንተ መጨረሻውን አንዳንድ ዙር እስቲ ወደ እናንተ
መሌኔ ልጀምር። በኋላ ሰው ከመሄዱ ከሰዎች ሎግ አውት ከማድረጋቸው ፊት ኢንፎርሜሽን ፓስ ለማድረግ ብዬ ነው። So ዛሬ የመጡትን ሁሉም ፓነሊስቶች we are very thankful. Everybody's busy in fellowship and working, so to take time out of your Saturday, we're very grateful. እንደምታውቁት የጤና ወግ is a volunteer network. We're just doing this stuff out of our time, so please join this network and help in any way you can. We're paying it forward. Like, everybody have helped me this semester. I remember Male was already in residency. I was asking him, can you recommend me these things? Now we're doing these things together now. So this is how we paid for it. So ahun attend you nachu follow mutaragu. So which we're going to be in this program. Nantam demo then we have to pay it back forward, And there's an opportunity alነበረንም አሁን ተሰብስበን ይሄን ነገሮች ማድረግ ችለናል። ሌሎች ሀገሮች ብዙ ሲያደርጉ ነው። I remember Egyptian network, India's network የኛ ኔትወርክ በደንብ ማድረግ አለበት። በደንብ ሌሎችን መርዳት መቻል አለብንና we have to make ourselves available. ያሉት ኦፖርቹኒቲዎች ምንድናቸው? የጤና ሜንተርሺፕ ፕሮግራም አለ። I'm sure everybody in this panelist list is a mentor. እና የተወሰኑ ሰዎችን ዘንድራን እያደረግን ነው። ግን there's a lot of people who want to be a mentee. So for now we have to suspend it because a lot of people applied and we couldn't match everybody. So like the mentorship cycle goes every 3 to 6 months. When the 6 months cycle ends, we'll take up new mentees. So if you are waiting for a mentor, like we'll open it again. Like by December, I think will be the end of the first mentorship cycle. So we'll be accepting new mentees. So we'll be opening the form so you can be mentees again. But at the same time, there are other resources. One is we created today a Telegram group where it's dedicated for USMLE. So earlier I was adding all the panelists to that Telegram group. So you can type the questions that you have anytime, and anyone of us who have time can reply to you. So you don't have to wait for a webinar to come. So, but make sure that you use it exclusively for USMLE purposes. Don't, send junk messages or advertisements. So we get tired of like seeing these things, so we don't reply. So use it exclusively for your physician friends, for students who are applying to this program, so that you can make the best out of this group. So the link I have shared it multiple times in the chat. I'll post it again, so that it will be easy to find this video. It will be easy to find the USMLE study resources that we uploaded on a Google Drive. So you don't have to pay for lots of things. So try to use it for that. So we have the mentorship program, we have the Telegram group that we use for this, and also the YouTube channel. Also, you can find the USMLE videos. Even the video from today will be available on the YouTube channel. So you can always go back and find it. So that's a message for everyone. Thank you again. Please join our group this year in our fantastic group. It's a volunteer network. So we'd like to have you there. Thank you again.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Yeah, Dr. Hiwet Katini.
Okay. Thank you very much. Just last closing slack no ለመናገር ፈልጌ ነው። ራሴና እዚህ ያሉትን around 80 or 100 attendees በመወከል I thank you very much, all of you. Valuable time ወስዳችሁ እዚህ እንደመጣችሁ I understand. So በጣም ነው የምናመሰግነው for giving us this useful tips. And I hope we'll do that for others in the future. And personally also, I feel that I thank someone, I'm not going to mention a name, but thank you very much. You did fantastic. Thank you all.
ሌሎቻችሁ Dave.
Okay. Hi everyone. Again, thank you for attending the discussion. ጤና ወግ አንድ አይነት መድረክ ስላዘጋጃችሁ በጣም thank you. ሁላችንም somehow የሆነ ሰው ረድቶናል እና as ፍፄ said, we are just paying it forward. እና ይህን ሞዴል ተከትላችሁ ሌላም ሰው እንደምረዱ እርግጠኞች ነን የዛሬ ተሳታፊዎች እና keep the network እና ask question, don't be shy. People are here to help and more than you know, people are happy to help. So keep the network and use the advantage of የጤና ወግ mentorship program. So that's all. Thank you. Okay.
I think እኔ ማለትም ፈልገው አሁንም ጤና ወግ ይሄን ኮላቦሬቲቭ የሆነ ኤፈርት ወደ ፔይንግ ፎርዋርድ የሚባለውን ፕሮግራም ስላስጀመራችሁ አፕሪሺየት አደርጋለሁ። አይ ቲንክ ከኛ ሳይድ አይ ቲንክ በኤክስፒሪየንስም ለረጅም ጊዜ የቆዩ ሰዎች ዳይቨርሲፋይ የሆነ ፊልድም ውስጥ ያሉ ሐኪሞች እንዲሁም ደግሞ I mean there's always better out there. So ሁሉም ሰው እዚህ መጥቶ ኮንትሪቢዩት እንዲያደርግ ኤፈርቱን ትልቅ አድርጎ ጥሩ ነገር ይሄ ነገር የምንለው ግን አንደኛ ነገር እኔ አንድ ዲስክሌመር ከኢትዮጵያ መውጣት አናበረታታም። ኦሬዲ ውሳኔ ላደረጉ ሰዎች ነው። አሁን ደግሞ እንደ አይነት ነገር ዲስከስም ለማድረግ ምንም አይነት ጊልቲ ፊሊንግ የለንም። ለምንድነው ጊልቲ ፊሊንግ የሌለን? ያልተቀጠሩ ሐኪሞች ስራ የሌላቸው ሐኪሞች ሁሉ ያለን ሀገር ሆነናል። ስለዚህ ሶስተኛ ነገር ደግሞ ኢትዮጵያዊ መጥቶ ሳክሰስፉል ቢሆን በተለያየ መልኩ መርዳት የሚችለው የሀገር ያለውን ሰው ስለሆነ አሁን I think it's time to strengthen this program and make it better. And it's really a great effort. I mean, there are much better people out there than me. Please join ጤና ወግ እና their efforts and help. I mean, you're brilliant doctors. I mean, the cream of your society to continue to be successful. እና ያን ነው ማለት የምፈልገው። Thank you.
I'm the last person መሰለኝ። እኔም ከነሱ የተለየ ነገር አይኖረኝም የምለው ግን this year apply ለምታደርጉ ሰዎች good luck ማለት ፈልጋለሁ። Like be proud of yourself. በመጠማት ብዙ ስቴፕ መታችኋልና የሚቀራችሁ በጣም ትንሹ ነው። እሱን በብዙ ኖሌጅ እና ዋይዝ ሆናችሁ ጨርሱት ለማለት ፈልጋለሁ። ከዛ በተረፈ ግን ይህን ፕሮግራም ያዘጋጃችሁ I just want to say thank you personally. ምክንያቱም ብዙዎቻችን ብዙ ቻሌንጆች ነበሩን እና የኛው በጣም helpful ነው። ምክንያቱም ከእናንተ በፊት በእንደዚህ አይነት ፕሮሰስ ውስጥ ያለፈ ሰው ሊረዳችሁ ፈቃደኛ የሆነ ሰው ማግኘት it's a big thing እና በጣም ቴንክ ዩ ማለት ፈልጋለሁ። እዚህም ያላችሁት መሌ I guess ፍፄ እንደን ከኋላ መሆናችሁ ስታስተባብሩ የነበራችሁ ማለት ነው። ለእኛም ጥሩ ቲቺንግ እንትን ነው። እናንተ ከዜሮ እዚህ ድረስ አምጥታችሁታልና we're really happy ለመርዳት ማለት ነው በምትፈልጉት ሁሉ። Yeah, that's what I want to say. Thank you.
እንግዲህ I think ወደ መጨረሻችን ላይ ደርሰናል። ስጀምር እንደተናገርኩት አሁንም በድጋሚ ሁላችሁንም እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ፣ እግዚአብሔር ያክብርልኝ። እዚህ ድረስ ቅዳሜያችሁን ሰውታችሁ ከቤተሰቦቻችሁ ወይም ደግሞ እንደኔና እንደ ዴቭ ደግሞ ከስራ ቦታ ቢሆን ትንሽ ስራ ይቆይ ግድ የለም ብለን ጊዜያችንን እዚህ ሰውታችሁ ለመጣችሁት ለሁላችሁም በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። ኦዲየንሶቻችንም እናንተ ይሄን ያህል ሁሉ ሰዓት ከኛ ጋር ስላዳመጣችሁን የተወሰነ እውቀትና ምክርም ከኛ ስለወሰዳችሁ ለኛም አንድ የምለው ነገር ምንድነው አንድ ሰው the best gift ሊሰጣችሁ የሚችለው ጊዜውን ነው እና እናንተ ጊዜያችሁን ሰጣችሁ እኛም ጊዜያችሁን ሰጣችሁን እናንተ ደግሞ I hope really appreciate አረጋላችሁ እዚህ ሁሉም የመጡትን እና ሼር ያደረጉትን ብዬ አስባለሁ። ወደፊት እንደዚሁ Dr. Radit is the other, co-president of the mentorship program በጤናው ጋር እሷ ብዙውን ነገር ከባክግራውንድ ሆና በጣም ኦርጋናይዝ አድርጋለች እና በዚህ አጋጣሚ እሷንም ሳላመሰግናት ማለፍ አልፈልግም። ፍፄም ሁላችሁም የጤናው ቤተሰቦች በሌላ ጊዜ በተመሳሳይ ፕሮግራም ወደፊት ብዙ ተመሳሳይ የሆኑ ቶፒኮች ሜዲካል ፊልድም ኢቭን ወጥቶ ለመረዳዳት አይዲያው አለን። ኢቭን ከሜዲካል ፊልዱም ደግሞ አልፈን በስራ ዓለምና በሌሎቹ በሪል ላይፍ ኤክስፒሪየንስ ውስጥ እንደ ሜንተርሺፕም እንደ ኤክስፒሪየንስ ሼሪንግም ለማድረግ ወደፊት ሆፕፉሊ ኦፖርቹኒቲው ይኖራልና አላማው አለን። እኛ እንደዚህ ጊዜያችንን ሰጥተን እንደረዳናችሁ ሼር እንዳደረገን ሆፕፉሊ ደግሞ ሌሎቻችሁ ይህንን የምታዩት አንድ ቀን መታችሁ የእናንተን ደግሞ ኤክስፒሪየንስ ለሌሎቻችሁ ኢቭን በጤና ወግ ፕላትፎርም ላይ ወይም ሌሎች ፕላትፎርም ላይ ሆፕፉሊ ሼር ታደርጋላችሁና እንረዳዳለን ብዬ አስባለሁ። እንግዲህ በተመሳሳይ ፕሮግራም እስከምንገናኝ እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልን። ደህና ሁኑ። Thank you everyone.